Yo! Did I turn? Wait a second. Is that right? Talk about Trump pressuring FIFA to overturn the Reds. Yeah, we could talk about that. It's coming home. Oi, the footy! Did you see that ludicrous display last night? The bloody footy! Anyway, guys, I got a few hours to stream, and then I've got to do the school run, and I definitely have got to be off tomorrow because I need to move my setup to the office, and finally get the stability that we all are asking for. Surprised England won in the Aztecas. Well, let's watch a little video about it, eh? Kick things off. Oh, excuse the pun. Well, okay. The problem here, the reason it's so echoey in here, is because I'm talking into this wall, and like there's obviously a wall just behind me there. You know, so it's like bouncing off, boom, 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 boom. So I'm hopeful that because the new room's got more space, it won't be quite as echoey. Thought you weren't streaming today. I mean, I don't really, you know, it's been a good week. It's been a very fruitful first week back. So I didn't like need to per se, but you know, any cash I can stuff into my pockets is a benefit because there's still a lot of shit I need to fucking pay for, dude. I do work too hard. I agree with you. But I'm actually waiting to hear back from my accountant about what my fucking tax bill is going to be. But basically, because I'm a sole trader, whatever money you earn, you have to pay tax on. But if you're a limited company, you draw what you need for the company and you can keep money in the business and it's more tax efficient. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to set that up. But then also, it's like structures and oh god, it's just like an absolute minefield, to be honest with you. It's an absolute fucking minefield, man. You got to structure it correctly. You can't just take money out of the business because it's the company's money. You pay yourself through dividends. There's like all these rules you got to follow. Get investors. Well, I don't think I'd be able to get investors for the streaming business, nor would I need to. But I am considering setting up a separate entity, having like a, what's it called? Having like a holding company. So I'm the company director, and you have a holding company, and then you have the streaming business in one shell, and then in the other, then underneath the holding company this way, you have another business which is for like investments. Because apparently the shell company arc, yes, dude, that's what we're doing, bro. That's what we're doing. Because the problem is HMRC have got this rule that if you have a company that has more than 20% investment interests, apparently there's you classify as an investment company and there's different rules that you have to, it's a total fucking nightmare, to be honest with you, dude. It's a total fucking confusing mess of rules that is impossible to fucking navigate. And then also it's like you pay up front for your tax and it's figuring out how that works. So I'm looking at setting up a company in the Cayman Islands. I have a plan to retire in the Isle of Man. Yes, dude. Yes, we're setting up a Cayman Islands business, exactly. No, it's all going to be in the UK. I'm not doing any funny business. It's all normal fucking business shit. All content creators that are successful have to go through this. Got to set up a limited company. I should have done it earlier, to be honest with you, but I just didn't bother. But here we are. Guys. Here we are. Get ready for the business owner arc. That's what we're going to be doing. The business owner arc is about to begin. But yes, guys. Things are looking good. Things are looking very good. Very happy. Oh shit, there's going to be a general election.
It seems pretty much a certainty that Andy Burnham will be the next British Prime Minister. Exactly when this happens depends on a couple of things. Firstly, whether anyone stands against Burnham in the leadership election, and secondly, whether Starmer agrees to remain Prime Minister for the next few weeks in order to give Burnham time to assemble his team and prepare for government. However, as things stand, it seems that the most likely outcome is that Burnham becomes Prime Minister on the 17th of July. As a result of there being no other leadership contenders and Starmer refusing to remain in number 10 over the summer. If this is the time...
What is he actually about? Well, I mean, you know, his devolution aspect is all about signalling this idea that Westminster is failing people and putting power in the hands of local government more so. But, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've looked through some of his proposals and some of his kind of ideas, and it's not really that crazy from what I can see. It looks like that he's not really looking at changing working people's tax. It also is looking like he's going to implement changes to property tax, which I think are probably good, from what I can see, and fairer. Dude, I saw some crazy stuff. There's the way it's set up at the moment is someone whose house is worth £3 million can pay the same council tax as someone whose house is worth £90,000. That's not right. That's just not fucking right, dude. That's just not right. That doesn't make sense. I think if you own a house that is worth more, it makes sense that you would pay a higher rate of, you know. It's because it's based on valuations in the 90s. People's council tax are based on how much your property was worth in 1991. That was the figure that was used. Basically, there was a thing called the poll tax that Margaret Thatcher introduced that was massively unpopular because it was so unfair. I'm pretty sure it was like a flat tax on all properties. And so John Major changed it to the council tax system, and they used valuations in 1991 to just get it on the books, basically, to quickly get it on the books. But then they never changed it because that would cause too much political upset to change it. You know, it's one of those things where they put it in place and they go, oh, we don't want to change it because we're going to piss people off. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know, man. I think that it needs to change. But like a lot of these things, it's like the fucking, you know, it's like the dribble lock. It's been in place for so long, people get used to it and no one wants to fucking change it.
Timeline for Burnham's coronation, though, then he'll...
Bro, dude, guess what, Groyper autism, okay? I don't even need to fucking be here today, right? So I'm going to talk about British politics for as long as I want today, bro.
Become Prime Minister with little claim of a mandate. Sure, he can point to the 55% of voters who backed him in the Makerfield by-election, and the large number of Labour MPs that backed his leadership bid. But the Labour Party membership won't have had their say on him, much less the country. Perhaps then, in order to settle this, Burnham will opt to go for an early election, in order to give himself
it's too hot for a hoodie, man,
and make the job of governing easier. So in this video, we're going to have a look into this suggestion, and explain why it might be more likely than you think. In the UK elections in May, Starmer oversaw a defeat in the Welsh Parliament for the first time ever, helped the SNP secure their 5th consecutive victory, and oversaw the loss of around 1,500 councillors. So, in the latest issue of our magazine Too Long, we explain how this happened, and what it means for Keir Starmer's leadership. That's just one of 80 pages in the magazine, because there's more in Too Long than you'd expect. Purchase your copy by clicking the link in the description. Now we're going to start by outlining some of the reasons that people don't think an early general election is likely. For starters, there's absolutely no requirement for Burnham to call one. No matter how Burnham becomes leader, as either the only candidate standing or by winning the membership vote, he will have done so as per the rules of the Labour Party. Here in the UK, we don't directly elect...
Nice shirt, you've been applying for jobs. Actually, no, I'm wearing this shirt because I'm preparing myself to set up a limited company. That's actually what's going on.
Elect the Prime Minister. We elect MPs, who are each a member of a political party. The leader of the largest party in the House of Commons is invited, by the monarch, to form a government in their name. With Burnham the legitimate leader of the Labour Party...
Oh, Brian Barrett-Wilson! I recognise your name. I wish I was still unemployed because I miss every stream. Don't worry, you're not missing much. Actually, that's not true. This week's streams, or last week's streams, were actually really good. I had a great time.
The largest party in the Commons, the King will invite him to form a government without any requirement to call a general election. This is all absolutely constitutionally sound, and in fact, we've seen numerous Prime Ministers move into number 10 without an election in the last few years. Liz Truss after Boris Johnson, and Rishi Sunak after Liz Truss, for instance. That said, some Prime Ministers that took office without a general election did call snap elections soon after.
It's just warm. It's just warm. And I don't really like wearing t-shirts. So, you know, this is about as light as it gets in the Chud Logic wardrobe. Or I could go shirtless. I could be like one of those big fat England supporters. Hooray!
Moving into number 10. Theresa May called a snap election in 2017, around a year after she took office, and Boris Johnson called one in 2019.
What is this, bro? What the fuck is this? What? What is the point of this, bro? What is the fucking point of that, man? Why would you, dude? I feel like an old man looking at this. You get a discount? You get a discount on this? It's only half a fucking hoodie. What the fuck, bro? You like it. You would do flip-flop because you're obsessed with Asian twinks.
A few months after he took office. In the former case, May actually lost her parliamentary majority, and in the latter, Johnson won the largest Conservative majority since Thatcher. So, despite not needing to, perhaps Burnham will call a snap election anyway, hoping that he could replicate what Johnson did and secure himself a large majority.
Oh, no, dude. I don't know, man. Actually, wait, hang on, hold on. What about Farage's controversies? Actually, I reckon that with Farage's controversies, this could be on the cards. This is possible. Why not? They'll lose seats. That's true. That is true. They will lose seats. But would they lose seats to the level that it would be, would they get less than 325 seats? I don't think so. Well, I don't fucking know, to be honest with you. Restore wave. Oh, dude, you restore Cobras, man. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, obviously, Farage might be in actual trouble over some of this financial stuff, possibly. There's currently an investigation, isn't there? God, I need to get my beard trimmed, man. Look, it's fucking state, isn't it?
The key issue with this argument is that Theresa May inherited a slim majority and Boris Johnson inherited a minority government, with him relying on the Northern Irish DUP to get his legislation through Parliament. Both May and Johnson then had a valid reason to call an election, to try and achieve a sizable majority. Burnham, however, won't have this problem. He'll inherit a 165-seat working majority, which will give him plenty of space to get his legislation through. On a technical basis then, there likely isn't the same motivation to call a snap election. The best Burnham can hope for by calling one is a slightly larger majority, but he would have to risk the sizable majority he inherits in order to achieve this. This is largely why the narrative right now seems to suggest that Burnham won't call a snap election. Little can be gained and lots can be lost. However, there are reasons that we think it's probably more likely than you think. First of all, his personal mandate.
I tell you what is interesting, is the restore stuff. It is going to be like the Bernie posting, isn't it? Here's how Bernie can still win. Here's how restore can still win. Restore's fate are to interrupt reform. That's it. They're not going to beat reform. It's impossible. It's impossible. They're not going to beat reform, dude. So give up your gay little hopes, racists.
We explained in the intro, Burnham will struggle to make the argument that he has a mandate for governing no matter what happens. Either he'll point to the 25,000 people that voted for him in Makerfield, or if there is a full-blown leadership contest, then he'll point to the low hundreds of thousands of Labour Party members that will have likely voted for him. Neither of these, though, is a mandate from the people of the country. While, as we explained, he doesn't need this constitutionally, it could cause problems for his leadership in the longer run. Burnham will, given the nature of his inheritance, need to make some difficult choices as Prime Minister. Choices that some backbenchers at some point may not like. On top of this, his backbenchers could also, at various points, accuse him of not taking the threat of reform seriously enough or not taking the threat of the Greens seriously enough. In all of these cases, being able to point to an election victory over these parties would improve Burnham's political authority.
I fucking hate
and
Polanski,
strengthen
man.
his position as PM. The second reason a general election is more likely than you think is that Burnham has, so far, appeared quite tolerant of political risks. Prior to becoming the MP for Makerfield, Burnham was the popular mayor of Greater Manchester. In fact, popular might be an understatement. In the last mayoral election in 2024, Burnham secured almost 2/3 of the vote and won 214 out of 215 wards. Burnham could have remained mayor and remained incredibly popular in Manchester. However, he opted to try to take the top job in British politics, something that presented a lot of risks. He could have been blocked as the Labour candidate in Makerfield, he could have lost the by-election, and Starmer could have opted not to stand down, and Burnham could have failed to secure the nominations needed to trigger a leadership election. In other words, there were a lot of hurdles to Burnham's coup attempt, but he went for it anyway, demonstrating a relatively high risk appetite. Perhaps then, he'd be more willing than other politicians to take a gamble on an early election. This leads us on to the third reason that an early election...
No, I wasn't a Polanski fan. I was never a Polanski fan. I just recognised that his rhetoric and his, vision and how he was doing it was very appealing and very good. I could just recognise he was a, great entity as a party leader to push it forward. And what's happened? The Greens have fucking absolutely rinsed it because Polanski has, got a very compelling narrative. He's engaged with social media well, and his team clearly are taking lessons from the likes of Mamdani in order to push his, political project forward. So this narrative that I liked Polanski, I just recognise, fucking hell, this guy is good in terms of appealing to a lefty base. So that's all it is. But no, I don't like the Greens. I think the Greens have got stupid policies.
The election is more likely than you think, Burnham's honeymoon period. Now, Prime Ministers usually get something of a poll bounce when they first move into number 10, and Burnham will likely be no different. Already we're starting to see this. YouGov, whose most recent overall voting intention put Labour on a mere 21%, 7 points behind Reform, finds that Labour polling with Burnham as leader rises to 27%, 1 point ahead of Reform.
Oh, let's go!
With him holding a 20-point lead over Farage on the question of who would be the better PM. It's
let's
quite possible then that
go!
Burnham sees this and strikes while the iron is hot. It's worth mentioning that this has the additional advantage of catching his opponents, who haven't had time to develop attack lines or a campaign strategy yet, off guard. So, while we're not saying that a general election in the next few months is certain, there are reasons to suspect that Burnham might...
Feel the burn! Feel the burn!
And if you're thinking that was a lot to take in, on top of the thousands of other stories happening around the globe right now, you'll...
We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. To be honest with you, I just wanted to get a little flavour of what's going on there. Guys, let's talk about this. It's coming home, guys. It's coming home. It's coming home.
It has the feel of a final, and it will be the final game of this World Cup for one. For the other, a quarter-final date with Norway in Miami awaits. The pressure's on, but we all know what that's for, Alan.
Pressure is for tyres, but pressure is also a privilege. What an opportunity these boys have got tonight.
And straight away a test for Raul Rangel as England went long.
The fat English fan photo. Yeah, you got to see the Harry Kane interview is absolutely mental. I watched a few seconds of it and thought I got to throw this up on stream. Absolutely insane. Where is it? Here it is.
Huge congratulations, what a contest, what a win. But I just firstly wanted to ask you what's happened over there by the England goal, because there looks to be some concern.
Yeah, Jordan, my place is Henlo just fell over there. Something to do with his arm.
Okay, well, as for the performance, I think it says it all, the fact that your voice has gone. That was some contest to watch. What on earth was it like to play in?
Yeah, it was a crazy game.
we had to fight. We had to find something. Yeah, I've just been sitting there. I can't really talk, but all the occasion, the team, everything against us, we found a way.
I was going to say, is that what pleases you the most, the resilience today? Because even your penalty, a word on that as well, not the one you scored, the one you conceded. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I thought I got to the ball first. It was one of those days that the ref gave a lot against us, and in the end it didn't matter. So yeah, I'm happy.
I'm going to try one more question if your voice holds out. What can this do for England going forward? You've got a quarter-final in Miami against Norway to look forward to. What can the England fans look forward to now?
Well, just look at them here. Incredible. Unbelievable support. Speechless. I can't even talk, so...
Go and rest that voice, rest up. Thanks, Harry.
We need to bring his aura back. There's only one way. There's only one meme to bring his aura back. I've seen these so much during the World Cup. This is... Dude, what is going on? Honestly, Twitter has made this World Cup so entertaining. Twitter, under Elon Musk, and it happening in America, because obviously all the Americans are interested in it now, has made the memes about this absolutely fucking wild. Where I just see so much racism. I see so much fucking racism on my timeline over this. Dude, what the fuck is this, man? Okay, come on. I want to see what the manager said, and then I'll show you the actual, my favourite racist memes.
Pride, joy, relief, elation, just some of the emotions England will be feeling right now. Let's hear at length from the England head coach.
What is this? Jordan Henderson suffers apparent injury after jumping over advertising hoarding. Oh, dude. Oof. Well, he's out. Well, he's out, isn't he? Dude, that's horrendous. Dude, what are they saying? Oh, come and help, come and help. His arm's fucked. I'll tell you what that is. His arm's totally fucked. Ooh. Fucking hell, bro. Oh, is that the guy that got the red card? Jesus Christ, dude. That's crazy. I need to see that again. Oh. Oh, dude. That's horrendous. That is horrendous. Okay, let's take a look at the at this. And then I'll show you the best racist memes I saw from one guy.
My emotions are very mixed. I'm just proud of the mentality and the attitude. Round of 32, round of 16 is the moment in tournament where you find a way to win. We did it with pure mentality, with heart, overcame every obstacle that was thrown at us. I'm so proud of the mentality and the will of this team. It's a very, very special night for us.
Dude, he looks like the doctor of a horrific Holocaust death camp, doesn't he? He looks like he'd be, popping out Jews' eyeballs to see what happens if you boil it in water or some shit. I don't know, dude. He looks like the kind of guy that would be taking organs out of Jewish people and stuffing in animal organs to see if they survive.
Mixed feelings also because I'm exhausted, of course, and emotional, but also sad because Jordan got injured. He injured his wrist. He's at the moment in the hospital, so it's a quite serious injury. And it just doesn't fit to the evening that Jordan is now not with us. I don't know the procedure, what's going on. I just did the press, and the doc told me that he's in hospital.
Okay, left-hand side here, Mike.
Hi, Thomas. Mike Keegan, Daily Mail. It's now
5:15 a.m. in the morning in England. I just wondered if you had a message for those and something to say about how far England can go in this tournament now.
I just want to say thank you. If you stayed up and sent us your energy, I just want to say thank you. Because if they think we don't feel it, we feel it. We feel it 100%. There is so much to love about this team. They should just keep pushing, pushing and pushing. We will go now full steam ahead. We get 2 recovery days.
I was too tired.
And, we will go and use this energy to keep pushing and stay in the tournament.
I was asleep. When's the next match?
Hi Thomas, Matt Law at the Daily Telegraph from over here. Hello? That's right. Hi. Many of us who have watched England for a long time will rate
Saturday the 11th.
The best results and most heroic
Fucking hell, dude.
we've witnessed. Where does it sort of rank in matches that you've managed, and also what can this give you and the team moving forwards?
It felt in the build-up, it never felt like a round of 16. It still now doesn't feel like a round of 16. It feels almost like we won a final or something. This last moment where the referee takes the whistle to his mouth and you know that you overcame it.
He looks like Magneto's looking for him.
10 men in the altitude against the home country, against a strong Mexican team.
Yeah, isn't this the first time England have beaten a home country team in like however long? Or is it the first time maybe? Because there is a massive home advantage. Like the home team always goes the distance in in a World Cup. Yeah. That's impressive, man. It's good.
You just like, this is a moment of joy, and it is a heroic performance and a heroic result in the end. I'm so happy for the players. It ranks on the very, very highest level, of course, also for me, to be part of this, to live this experience, the last 2 days, to be in this country, to see the people on the side of the
They ran out of fence.
all the way to the stadium.
Okay, dude.
Such special moment, and to overcome it against all adversity makes it very.
Oh yeah, I saw memes about this because apparently people were like, "Oh, England's going to get raped because it's at altitude and blah blah blah." All these fucking pre-copes. That England were going to get owned.
And it will have a very special place for all of us.
It was a game where you had to change a lot. So tactically, obviously the red card made a big difference. You approached the game from the start in a different way. Can you just talk us through those changes? Because you basically invited the pressure at the end and backed your players to stop them.
I don't see any chance in altitude 50 minutes to not invite the pressure against a team that just plays all in. We were 2 goals up, get a very, very soft penalty from VAR, get another setback.
True.
Before we scored, we played a 4-3-2. So then we scored. Then we conceded a penalty, and then Mexico played basically all in. And we defended in a 5-3-1 until the end. No more changes, just changes from personnel. And I just have to repeat myself, and I have to say it, the attitude, the awareness of our substitutes.
Dude, that's mental.
It's just on outstanding level.
That's mental.
Hi Thomas, Simon Peach from the Press Association. Hopefully you can hear me.
I hear you good.
Just wondering how Jarrell Kwanzaa is. Obviously he's very disappointed, I'm guessing. How's he been with the group? And I was going to say, I guess he's...
But at the moment we're celebrating, and we're thinking about Jordan Henderson at the same time. And of course also with Churell. It's crazy, another right defender out. In the game, I never thought that VAR would get involved. In the game, it was not even given a foul. So the referee obviously also thought that it's a hard tackle, but it was okay for him to let it play. VAR came, made a decision, and then like always, I just saw the still on the screen. When you see a still, then you know it's just, you cannot take decisions on a still in a football match. It's just not possible. And they did it, of course, against us. So Churell is very upset, of course, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is, it's always been controversial for some people because it's the idea that you are, you know, I mean, adding 10 minutes and stuff, that is crazy. I can see why people have got a problem with it, especially with this idea that you can literally pause it to see factually whether or not something occurred. Not nowadays. Is it not? I remember at the time we got introduced, there were these kind of issues. Yeah, I don't know. Remember the Carl Rittenhouse trial where they counted the frames from him raising the gun? Yeah, but that's not really the same thing, is it? That's not really the same fucking thing. When you're talking about a court case where someone can go to jail for life versus a decision in a football match where traditionally the referee would just have a perception or wouldn't have a perception, and that was it really. Football changed. Yeah, what are these hydration breaks? I don't know anything about that. Why have they got hydration breaks now? I guess, you know, because I don't want people collapsing from thirst and shit.
It's disappointing and the setback today because we were good in the match. For me, not enough for VAR to overturn the decision, like the penalty.
Oh, for adverts.
Okay, that's what it is.
Over here now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, you know, again, I'm no expert on football. I don't really follow it at all. But I'm pretty sure that, you know, VAR is controversial. I don't think it's just accepted blindly. I think some people have got issues with it, right? Interferes with the flow of the game. And like he's pointing out, you make decisions on the back of like a single shot of something happening. When it's about the fluidity of it, you're supposed to analyse like what's happening more, you know, for the entirety of it rather than one pinpoint moment.
Thank you for your time, Thomas. Tony Sanchez, San Diego Football. What can you tell me are the biggest lessons that you're going to take away as a manager and your team after this match here in Mexico City against Mexico?
There are a lot of lessons, of course, on a football.
Oh my god, dude. Bro, all you're doing is fucking moaning, bro. Why don't you go watch something else if you don't like what I'm talking about? It's my day off today, bro. I'm chilling. We're talking about things that I want to talk about that I normally wouldn't get into in a normal stream. Because it's my day off. If you don't like it, go watch something else, bro. No one's forcing you to be here.
Football on a football level, but the biggest lesson is that this team has a heart and a mentality and a togetherness that is one of a kind. I think that our fans here and our fans in England can be so proud, and I think they are proud. This is not possible if you...
VAR, I don't know what it stands for, someone in chat could probably say, but basically it used to be that a referee would just make a decision based on what they could see, but they introduced VAR, which is where they have like a, you do a replay of it for the referee to look at. Video assisted referee, there we go. So... rather than it be a tackle happens and the referee doesn't really see it, or sees it from a certain angle and has a certain perception of it, now they can go to the screen and look and see, and they do like a video replay of it. They're live for the referee, and he then makes a decision off the back of the video.
If you're not a group that really means it, if you're not if you're not glued together with the right spirit, then this isn't possible. And we made it possible against all odds, and we're very proud of that.
Okay, in the middle there.
Vincent Schimke, Münchner Merkur TZ. Herr Tuchel, ich würde gerne auf Deutsch fragen, aber ich muss auf Englisch. You obviously know Harry Kane for a long time now, and in comparison to his days at Bayern Munich, how do you develop even from that level to today, where he's leading your team now to that victory? And he even got a praise now from Donald Trump. What do you think about that? And yeah, how did you see it today?
Wait, did Donald Trump praise Harry Kane? That's based. Someone linked me a video as well about this red card business with Trump.
Well deserved, first of all. And well, Harry is a unique player, unique personality. When I was at Bayern, I'm still glad that I fought the fight to bring him to Bayern Munich against some other opinions. I'm glad for him that I did it. because that was the
Wait, no, this is the one I'm going to show you.
Into a winning culture, into a culture that demands everything from you.
I'll show that in a minute.
With Vincent Company, they implemented a very intensive style, a very intense style of play that helps him a lot to be in the best shape physically, and that's where he is. He got his titles, well deserved, with Bayern Munich. He is the key player for Bayern Munich to get these titles, and it just took a huge, I think, a huge weight off his shoulders. He's in the best moment of his career, and it's just beautiful to see how devoted and what a team player he is.
When you announced your squad back in Wembley, you said you had a team of specialists, is how you called it, for almost every situation. But 3-2 up with 10 men in the Azteca in a knockout game. Did you really plan
failure of planning? I didn't see that coming, I have to tell you. Esri Konsa ended up as a wingback. Anthony Gordon ended up as an 8.
Well, when I was growing up, it was like Beckham. It was Beckham. Beckham was the guy, right? But I think Harry Kane has outpaced even Beckham now in terms of performance. Like, Harry Kane is going to go down as one of the all-time best England players ever. Scholes, Neville, Rooney, Wayne Rooney was class, but yeah, but I think that's true. I think Beckham was overrated. Yeah, I think that's true. Bobby Charlton and Bobby Moore are the GOATs. Dude, it was a totally different game back then. And I must say, I'm imagining that you probably think that because there weren't any blacks on the team back then.
There was Morgan Rogers, so Chud ended up as a 9. No, but I just feel that we got a real team in the building. We get a real team in the building. That means
Gaza.
If you turn back and you ask one player to do something extraordinary or just a task in the game, I just see immediately that the player knows what to do because they're so invested. They immediately see what to do, how to help, and they just.
The only time England has been successful just so happens to be when there were no blacks. Interesting.
Just ready to go, and that's a beautiful thing. It's a rare thing to have, and we were not gambling on that spirit, and that's what you see now.
In the middle there, back.
Hi, this is Pierre from L'Equipe. What did you think of the performance of Jordan Pickford? He has been a bit criticized in the beginning of the tournament, and did you ask him to play long ball because the first goal come from a long ball from Jordan? Thank you.
Yeah, we wanted to overcome the high press a bit, and if we don't feel it, have the option to go for a long ball. We tried yesterday in training. We could see that Jordan hits it even longer than he normally does in the altitude, so we thought this could be a good way to just put the ball in the opponent's half, to not get stuck in our half. You could feel in the beginning that we didn't have the confidence, we didn't have the rhythm to overcome the high press, so we went into long balls, which we did good then. Yeah, Jordan overall did very, very good, especially in the end. He was brave. He came out for the crosses. He really saved the balls that were savable. He didn't allow second chances and rebounds, so well done. I'm very happy for him.
2 more. Yeah.
Yeah, if you got a video about the Trump thing, I'll throw it up. But I don't know much. I've not seen anything about it. So, but if you've got a thing, I'll look at it.
We've talked a lot about altitude, but can you
I've been asleep.
Exactly how hard
I've been asleep for hours.
For your players and how deep they had to go, particularly with 10 men tonight.
Well, 50 minutes with 10 men, it's just on any given day, even on sea level, it's just like almost impossible to overcome. But we did it. We did it in altitude. We still think that the first 20 minutes are the hardest. We were aware of that, and we said we will go all in the
Yes, that's who we're up against next, isn't it? Fucking hell.
Second to fifth,
That is
fourth
Shakira.
quarter. But then the red card changed everything. So you need to ask the player. They are, of course, they're exhausted on the next level, which is beautiful to see, because I think even this gives a connection with the fans. They just see that there comes the whistle. They're almost too exhausted to celebrate. Yeah, it's just beautiful that players on that kind of level just give everything for the win and for the country and for that shirt. And just everyone keep that in mind. It
was a World Cup song.
Last question.
This is Carlos from Telesur. Last time that England played here at Azteca was 40 years ago against Argentina. And you remember Maradona, the hand of God, and so on. Now there is a big chance that England face Argentina in semi-finals. What do you think about that? Would you like to face Messi and Argentina?
What do you think my answer is now?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I will not talk about the semi-final if I'm just like into the quarter-final.
Yeah, exactly. What a stupid question, man.
Now we have the chance for some days off. I tell you something, I will not re-watch our match, and I will not watch anything about Norway in the next 24 hours. I will do one full day without football. And then we will think about Norway, and then we will think ahead. We'll take it step by step. There is no other way. I agree. We had a very sad history with the stadium, so we made peace today. I just heard from your colleagues what the record was in World Cups from Mexico in this stadium. We know what it takes to
one full day of torture induced to decompress.
We know what it takes to score 3 goals against a team who didn't concede a single goal until now. We're not thinking about semi-finals.
Okay, so let's look at this Trump thing. The decision is shameful. Neville Keenan right. Hey, finally some blokes talking about it.
Breaking news. FIFA
not
have
women.
announced just now that the USA's following Balogun is available to play against Belgium tomorrow. In line with Article 27 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code, the implementation of the match suspension after his red card against Bosnia is itself suspended for a probationary period of 1 year.
Kind of overturning a referee decision without overturning it by invoking Article 27.
Christina, thank you very much indeed. So they've not overturned the red card, but they've suspended the ban. And the problem is because it's a USA player, in a vacuum, Roy, speculation grows. That's the reality of this situation.
Yes, it seems unfair because it is unfair.
On Belgium?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Obviously, you've got to look at the opposition team in terms of their preparation, and it seems like a bit of a pals act, shall we say, going on.
Yeah, because Belgium have been planning for the last 4 days to play against a certain American attack, and now it's completely different.
Mark, absolutely.
Bro, so the red card means if the team has prepared a strategy on the basis of that player not playing, and now their player is playing because of this corrupted decision, and now they have to change. That's completely out of order, man. That's completely out of order. Chud acting like he knows ball. I've said repeatedly I don't follow football, bro. Oh my god, you're just so fucking annoying, dude. I openly say I don't really follow football, and people are like, "Why are you acting like you know?" I've said that I don't, bro. I've said that I don't. I've just given my opinion. By the way, this player is USA goal scorer, like top goal scorer. Is that right?
This stinks, let's be really clear. But what I would say is the thing that stinks the most is there should be a review process in place, because I actually didn't think it was a red card, and I think there should be a process which allows it to be overturned. But if there's no process for it to be overturned, and then somehow FIFA from nowhere have just decided to basically let a player play, and the rules are the same for everybody, I would be absolutely raging if I was Belgium and every other team in the tournament that's had a player sent off that might think it's a little bit hard done to. And do you know something, Mark? Are we surprised? No. Not with this lot.
No. You look at it. Well, the suspensions are meant to be served during the tournament. You know what I mean? And this one, like, it's being suspended and it doesn't...
Well, the whole point is you get suspended as a punishment for committing the act in the tournament. So what's the point of the punishment if it doesn't happen during the tournament then? Nah, dude, this is like fucking crazy, man. I'm honestly blown away by this.
Normally happen, but
it's mental.
We're talking about integrity, people talking about transparency, but you look at some of the things that's happened in this tournament with certain teams. You know, it's shameful how things can happen, especially it's an American player. Whether he's guilty of what he's done, whether we think he shouldn't have got it or not, some of the things that's happened in this World Cup have been shameful.
Like what? What's happened?
Well, we'll see what happens, and we'll bring you any news from FIFA in terms of an official statement.
What's been happening that I must have missed this stuff? What have people been talking about? UEFA statement on the Bolgan case. Yesterday's decision to suspend a probationary period of a year, the implementation of the one-match automatic suspension following the red card issued to the player Folarin Balogun crossed a red line. Football, like any other sport, relies on rules which are the basis for fair, honest and transparent competition. Uncertainty of match times. Okay. That's interesting. Sometimes rules are open to interpretation, in this case not. A minimum automatic suspension of one match following a red card is not a discretionary option and does not require the decision of a competent body to be enacted. It's a principle embedded in regulations which cannot be made subject to exceptions, let alone in the middle of a tournament where several other players have been in the same situation and regularly served their suspension. Well, the thing is, with this precedent being set, any other player is surely going to be like, well, what about, you know, can the England player play then? Because he got a red card. Fucking hell, dude. That's mental. When the certainty of rules is no longer guaranteed by its guardians, the integrity of the game is at stake. Was that the same guy? I don't fucking know, dude. I don't fucking know. The integrity of the game is at stake and the credibility of the competition is undermined. Equally, such decision creates a precedent in the ongoing tournament where similar situations will now require an equal treatment to the detriment of the competition. Exactly. Football is the most loved sport in the world because it's a beautiful game and is trusted because it's played everywhere but the same laws. A tournament is never a pure standalone, and if the tournament in question is the World Cup, it has the power to drive positive and negative consequences on the game as a whole. We express our disbelief at such an unprecedented, incomprehensible and unjustifiable decision. Fucking hell, that's mental. The difference is the American player didn't deserve the red card. Bro, what are you on about, dude? What?
Suspension after his red card against Bosnia is itself suspended for a probation.
Didn't even go near the ball. Didn't even go near the fucking ball. What, dude? What planet are you on, bro?
Period of 1 against Bosnia is itself suspended for a probationary.
What am I missing here? What am I missing here exactly? What do you mean? He doesn't even touch the ball and just stands on his fucking heel.
Period of 1 year. Balogun commits another infringement.
It wasn't a challenge. What? What? Yes, it was! What are you on about, bro? What? By what standard?
Match suspension after.
See, it's difficult because I'm not a football guy, but I look at that and I think he's going for the ball, but just goes nowhere near it and stands on his heel.
Red card against Bosnia is itself suspended.
What do you mean, bro? He's going for the ball right here. What do you think he do? What are you on about, bro? What, dude? Bro, these Yanks need to stop talking. Go get back to your fucking American football. You don't know what you're fucking talking about, bro. Absolute fucking cope. What are you on about, man? Anyway. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. This is my favourite tweet.
That's wonderful. But how do I make...
Hey, yo!
Watch this 007 first light review. It's going to affirm your decision to not finish the game. The first 4 minutes of the video is into. Bear with it. You know the rule.
Oh my god, dude. It's a Synthetic Man video. Thank you for the $25. Okay. I'll put it in the thing. I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at it. But it's an hour long. I'll watch it. I'll watch it at some point and we'll get to it. Do I need to watch the first 4 minutes to understand? Synthetic Man review win. Well, we're about to do our own Synthetic Man type content. Because did you see this? Did you see this? Where is it? Where is it, dude? No! Oh no, wait, I retweeted it, so we've got it. Don't sweat it. We got it. We got it, okay? I opened up my Twitter this morning to find out if England had won, and I was presented with this. This is fucking crazy, dude. Being a cunt, go back to £4 an hour cleaning hotel, spics. This is not mental. For a couple of lads out in Mexico watching the games being racist, dude. It was like fucking... And this guy, I don't know what his deal is, if he's like a sort of known account or something. And then he tweeted this out this morning. And then he tweeted this out, dude. Had a sleep, saw my racist tweets last night. Regret fuck all. If you woke, unfollow me. This is a full-time Patriot account for the World Cup. This is what it's referring to. Anyway. There's more. There's more that he was tweeting out as well. What is this? 4 kids at the US border. Pizza after win is my usual order. Wall hopping taco beaners. £4 laughing. It's just so extreme. I'm pretty sure this is actually him. I think this is actually his person, and you know, it's his real face that he's attaching to this. Least racist football fan. The thing is, you know, obviously I don't support this in any way, but like he could like get in trouble with shit, bro. Could he not? Dude, what the actual fuck, man? Carry your kids to the border for 135 miles. Half a head Jimenez is a... Fuck them beating. It's fucking crazy, man. Half a head Jimenez, dude. What the fuck, man? It's just absolutely blatant racism from this guy. Dude, fuck it. It's just... Dude, bro. On 9 AM Monday morning versus Mexican time on Monday into those Beaner boys. Bro, dude, what the fuck? This is too much, isn't it? It's usually like 10 lads watching together that will create all the havoc. I assume the family, casual friends watching will be quite cool. I'll be rooting for you guys as long as you don't destroy my country. Dan has solved this account, surely. No, I'm just a racist. Oh my god, man. This is fucking crazy. Dude, this guy's so funny though. No, I'm just racist. Fuck the Takos, I'm English. Fuck the Takos, Dan. He's obviously just pissed up. No, dude. No, look, he's saying here. He said he doesn't fucking care. He said he's had a sleep and doesn't care. He's fucking well up for it. He's well up for it, dude. Oh my god, man. It was relentless. Once again, fuck England. Oh. Your mum cleaned the hotel I stopped in Texas the other week. Did a good job. Nice moustache too. What the actual fuck, man? Oh my god, dude. You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious. And then, oh man. I'm not worried about England being spied on. Most Mexicans will be too busy smoking cocaine in a silly big hat. Very funny people. Good food though. Fucking hell, dude. Yeah. Other than that, honestly, it's just kind of like normal posting, like he's on holiday, you know? Jeez, post, man. A tribute to Leicester's new Chinese signing, League One in New York. Bro, what the fuck, man? Oh my god, dude. Oh, is he a Millwall fan? Oh, that explains it. That explains the racism. Crazy stuff, man. But yeah, this guy's having the time of his life. This guy's having the time of his life out there. Any Ghana fancy a scrap in Boston? Not in a racist way. Very good. Very good stuff. Anyway, guys, there we go. I just thought that was quite funny. Yeah, the Millwall are known for being massive hooligans. Do you know what's crazy? I knew a Millwall fan. Okay. And he was, you know, normal guy. Very kind of robust, shall we say. You know, very kind of like salt of the earth kind of guy. Massive homosexual. Massive homosexual. And alcoholic as well. But he was gay. Bent as a 9-bob note. And he was a Millwall fan. And he had all these stories that he'd tell me, actually. Because he worked as a barman part-time for a local gay bar. And the owner of the bar used to take him on holidays. Like lavish holidays off to Spain and stuff like that. And he was telling me that apparently and he was like a sort of big fat gay guy. And apparently there's things that would happen on holiday. Like he'd be walking past his room in the villa and this owner would like throw back the sheet and be like, go on then. And he'd be expected to like suck him off. Just because he brought him on holiday. And apparently he was like fine with that. Because he was like, well, it's like payment for the holiday. But yes, this is just what gays are like. This is just what homos are like. Okay. But yes. Lots of footy stuff happening. Oh, here we go. Look, this is a bit more about the Donald Trump aspect. Donald Trump called FIFA chief Gianni Infantino on Wednesday to ask to review the ban of the US forward, according to Sky US's partner network NBC News.
Yes, this is a big controversy that is growing at this World Cup. The decision by FIFA to suddenly overturn Folarin Balogun's ban that would have ruled him out playing for the United States against Belgium tomorrow in the round of 16. He's their star striker, has scored 3 goals so far, including 1 in the game against Bosnia-Herzegovina before he was sent off in that round of 32 victory. And what's just adding to this scandal, as it's become seen in some eyes, is the fact it's emerged that Donald Trump contacted the FIFA president Gianni Infantino after that sending off to ask for the ban to be lifted. And that...
Fucking hell, dude. Thank you to FIFA for doing what is right and reversing a great injustice. You, dude, just outwardly celebrating corruption. This is disgraceful, man.
Now what has happened. The Belgium FA are furious. They talk in their statement about the decision being absolutely astonishment to them. They say that they are investigating all potential options because they said there was a circular to all teams before this World Cup reminding them that a sending off would lead to an automatic one-match ban. But FIFA's delved into its regulations and activated Article 27, and that gives the judicial body the ability to be able to lift a ban and to suspend it for 1 to 4 years. And
yeah, but the problem you've got, obviously, is it sets a precedent. It sets a fucking precedent, bro. Other players can reasonably now say, well, I want my red card fucking shit, right? You can't fucking just do it once.
There's been no explanation given at all. So it does look like heavy political interference. Which
the precedent was already set. No, it wasn't already set. I'm pretty sure this is unprecedented, no?
FIFA has not yet disputed. They do say that it is a decision taken by an independent judicial body within the FIFA structure, but they've not commented directly on the fact Donald Trump, the US president, in the middle of a World Cup, largely being played on...
No, it's during... the difference is it's during the World Cup. This has never happened before in the middle of the tournament. Never.
US territory, asking the FIFA president to suspend a ban to allow their star striker to be able to play in a crucial game as the US try to reach the quarter-finals at what is largely their home World Cup. And the repercussions for this could be significant. And it is the latest bit of evidence of where FIFA does perhaps give favourable treatment to a player at a particular time. Cristiano Ronaldo should technically have been banned for the start of this World Cup after being sent off at the end of World Cup qualifying in October, but FIFA also suspended his automatic ban as well, using again its ability to apparently be flexible. But we've seen players already...
You say, there we go. Okay, yes, that was a bad decision too. Right? But we're talking about in the middle of the tournament happening. Dude, you're a fucking moron, bro. We're talking about a game played in the tournament, you fucking idiot.
Sent off at this World Cup, they've served bans. They haven't had them lifted, and as of yet, no explanation as to what was the reason for Balogun's ban to be lifted. With Ronaldo last year,
God, honestly, all these, honestly, I can already see a problem. You've got all these retarded yankoids commenting on soccer, on football, and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It must be absolutely insufferable if you're an actual proper football fan, listening to these retarded takes.
Sort of effectively his good conduct over the years.
They don't get it. They don't understand it. They're cheering on. They're cheering this on, bro. Not understanding the fucking issues with it. So I'm very sympathetic to actual football fans that have got just absolutely wrong takes about all of this stuff. Seems like a nice, sensitive young man.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about how it's really getting me cross now. How this war's still not over. I think we as humans just really need to do better. So even though for me, you know, I've been getting just like loads of impressions, loads of likes on when I do post about it, which obviously now I've got my blue tick, so you know, this is pretty cool. But yeah, so that means more money on the ad revenue, and you know, means I can make more content in the future. But you know what? I would trade all that today if it meant there was no more deaths in this war. So we really need to do better, and we need to stop it now. Make sure you smash a like down, and obviously leave a comment with what you think about what I've said. Cheers.
Dude, this guy's great, man. This is just a normal English guy, do you know what I mean? And he's now going viral for being racist. Great banter. Great banter. Performative twat. That's the point. That's the joke. The joke is, he's saying, I want the war to end, but he's obviously trying to promote fucking, you know, engagement for money. Oh my God. You guys are too autistic sometimes. You guys are too autistic. Anyway, guys, I mean, yeah, this is a crazy decision. Crazy decision. And I don't know much about the Ronaldo thing. It sounds like a bad decision too. But you understand the difference between it being the middle of the tournament and it happening, right? Whereas, you know, that was before. So that was what? The game before the World Cup, the last game of the qualifiers, Ronaldo got a red card and they rescinded it so he could play the first game. Is that right? I mean, that sounds like a bad decision as well, but this is obviously unprecedented because it's in the middle of the tournament, and it's worse because you are stacking the deck in the favour of helping America, one of the hosts of this tournament. Did you see the Americans' reaction? What did the Americans say? The difference to the... Okay, well, I don't know... Dude, you fucking lost, bro. You're totally raped on this point. I don't know why you're still fucking arguing it, bro. I don't know why you're not just going, I was wrong. I didn't realise. The difference of the deferred punishment being in the beginning of the tournament... No. You don't understand, right? You don't understand. Both games that are relevant to this are happening in the same tournament, bro. Okay? That's the difference. Right? It's one match after the other happening within the same tournament. That's the thing that's unprecedented, you fucking idiot. And also, the stakes are a lot higher as well because it's happening in the final stages of the tournament too. And yes, also the fact that it's America that's called this in. You know, I don't know about the Ronaldo decision, but that sounds like, you know, FIFA making their own decision. This is clearly a product of Donald Trump calling the guy and getting him to do it. What? I didn't see it. I didn't see it, man. It's too quick. Oh, he elbowed him. Oh, he elbowed him. Okay, fucking bashed him. He fucking bashed him. He bashed him. He bloody bashed him.
You get a red card. Nah, bro, I have the Trump card. I win. What? That's not how it works.
Oh my god, dude. There is no defending this. There is no fucking defending this, man. It's the totally indefensible thing that's happened. But obviously people are just politically sidescucked. Have some class. Yeah, exactly. Okay, what is this thing that you wanted me to watch on the theme of racism? Oh, I think you said watch the first 4 minutes.
Guess the cup correctly and walk away with the jewel of Jahari.
He's not even doing it fast. Alright, it's the middle, but I'm guessing there's a cheat.
Middle cup? What? I don't understand. How did you do that?
Are you fuck? You guys like the yellow paint already? We're literally 5 seconds into the game. Can I run this guy over? You pussy. You pussy! Can ignite this wheelbarrow of leaves even though everyone's watching me do this. But no one saw that? Yeah, he was looking right at me. Oh my god. This is Hitman for actual fetuses. Why can't I ruin the chest? No way. It's a woman. Brilliant scientists inventing things. You know what? What's that list of female inventions again? Hold on. Can I at least die by going out, getting sucked out of the plane? Let's find out. No way. Drive off the cliff. Drive off the cliff. Come on, come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yes. Freedom.
goes on fire. What the hell? My eyes, I can't see.
The problem with it is, it's one of those games where you just have to ignore these things, basically, to enjoy it. You've got to kind of ignore all the little silly things like that and just accept that it's basically on rails.
Stealth. Dude, this is unbelievable. This is a video game. This is a video game. This is Mind's Eye all over again. I'm telling you. Chat, do I actually have to...
Bro, I don't... Listen, I accept it. I accept it. I've said I'm not playing the... At first, I enjoyed it. Some of it was fun. But it just... The thing that bothered me about it is it just... The point of playing Bond is you want it to be... Even if it was more on rails, it needs to be exciting. And, you know, you're fucking fighting or you're in a gunfight or some shit like that. And then I'm walking around a server room. I'm walking around a fucking server room trying to find out the fucking server shit. A little bit of that is fine because, you know, Bond does a bit of that shit. But it's just, you're there for 10 minutes walking around a server room. Fuck off, dude. It sucks. It fucking sucks. It's boring. It gets boring. It gets boring.
Undetected, and that's why this isn't working. I'm thinking I have to be...
Oh yeah, this dude, this thing. Bro, dude, yes, this, where they're all chasing you.
How does he not see me?
Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy, man.
I'm still not allowed. What about if I zap this guy too? Yeah! Yes! Baby game. What, am I not allowed to interact with anything in this fucking fake ass game? Yeah. Go ahead, bitch. Go ahead.
What the fuck?
Oh. Oh? Oh? Oh, what happens if I do nothing?
The bomb's less complicated than this.
No way, it just loops it?
If you insist.
Is it gonna keep looping? Why bother, dude? Why?
Right, no panic. Just a growing sense of humiliation.
That's the whole game. They lampshaded it. Humiliation ritual. Deploying melee a guy. Don't worry, you can't shoot me. You're not allowed. Yeah, see? They're not allowed to shoot me because I'm doing a melee finisher. You can't shoot me. Wee. Oh my god, who did that?
Forget it.
The AI.
Bro, oh, this fucking retard is still here. Chud is wrong. The red card overturning was not corruption. Okay, bro.
So bad. He doesn't even look where the trial.
So you were saying retarded shit about it because you're desperately trying to defend the decision. I see.
He's kicked, man. He doesn't even look. Oh shit, he's a brawler. That's stronger than a guy with a gun. Brawlers are actually more deadly than people with guns in this game. Oh shit. Chat, I'm dead. Chat. How am I not dead? How? Literally how though? Oh my god.
What's this?
Vodka martini.
How'd we...
Shaken, not stirred.
How'd you know?
What's the difference?
James?
You know, there's been several times this year where I played a modern game.
Okay, I think that gives us what I think that's what they were saying. 4 minutes in. Do you know what? I've got my issues with Synthetic Man, but that was actually pretty demonstrate. That was demonstrating pretty well why my decision to not continue to play the game is correct. I'm quite happy with that, to be honest with you. I'm quite happy with that. Another unfinished game. Honestly, I'll just have to take the L on that. They should have just made a Bond-themed Hitman game, yes. I agree with that. I agree with that. Okay, right, let's do some tax content. I know you guys love a bit of tax content, don't you? Gary Stevenson content, to be more precise. Gary Stevenson is releasing a documentary, apparently, which I'm very likely going to be watching on stream if we can manage that.
Okay, welcome back to Gary's Economics. Today we have a very special episode for you guys. I am finally able to announce this week the release of my...
Do you know what I've been realising? Do you know what I've been realising about this, right? And I can relate to this as someone that was young and had a brokey mindset. when I was in my early 20s, right? The reality is, if you take £10,000 and give it to some poor freak, okay, they will just waste it on fags and booze. That's the reality of it. They won't invest it. They'll go and buy a bunch of fags, booze, and probably some drugs too, okay? But give it to a billionaire. But it's this idea that, like, of wealth building, right? But the reality is, someone that has got, you know, is at the lower echelon of society is probably not going to know what to do with £10,000. So they'll just end up spending it. Look, okay, the best case example is that bin driver that won the lottery, and he squandered the money so badly that he had to become a bin man again. He had a house and all these, you know, he bought a house and all these fucking drugs he was buying, all this sort of shit. That is the classic example of someone at the lower echelons of society getting this fucking life-changing amount of money and then being back where they started because they squander it all. And I'm the same. I'd have been the same if I was in my early 20s and I got £10,000. I'd have fucking squandered it in my early 20s. I'd have spent it on booze, drugs, you know, fucking video games, shit. So like a load of worthless stuff, basically. So, you know, I just saw a tweet about it that was quite interesting. It's the Daniel Priestley guy that debated this guy. And he was challenging this concept of it's not fair that people at the lower echelons of society don't have wealth. And the point he was making is there is no society in human history that has had widespread wealth across the entirety of its, you know, people. Because there's some people that just aren't interested on a fundamental level in building wealth. And they're always going to be in that position because they don't have that mentality and they don't have that mindset, you know?
90-minute Channel 4 documentary. All right, so this is something which I have been working on for, God, probably nearly 9 months now. Enormous amount of work. A documentary I have made with Channel 4 and Mindhouse Productions. And finally, it is coming out this week. It will be released on Channel 4 this week, the 8th.
Dude, what is it going to be? We got to tax the rich. We got to tax the rich. We need a wealth tax. We got to tax the rich. There's too much inequality. We need to tax the rich more.
8th of July, 9 p.m, Wednesday evening. There's no World Cup that day, so you've got no excuse but to watch it. Today, I want to talk a little bit about what the documentary is, why I made it, what it was like making the documentary, how I feel about it now, and most importantly, how I think we can try to use this to create a moment to really push the new UK government at this really pivotal time to do something about inequality and the economy. And without further ado, I will show you now the trailer for How to Get Filthy Rich with Gary Stevenson.
My proposal is a 2% tax on wealth of above £10 million.
Absolute populist claptrap.
People are having
Yes! Yes, dude! Dan Needle, I love that guy.
decision on whether they eat or whether they stay warm.
Why is it only rich people are supposed to not look out for their own interests? Is everyone else looking out for them?
How to Get Filthy Rich with Gary Stevenson
I like the cut of that. I like that guy. I like what that guy's saying.
Or Wednesday at 9.
All right, that was the trailer. First things first, let's get some technical details out of the way. The show will air for the first time on Channel 4, which is one of the big UK channels if you're out of the country. This week, Wednesday, 8th of July, 9 p.m. We're really happy with that slot because there's no World Cup that day. So it means they've really chosen like basically the best possible slot for it. It's 90 minutes long. It will be available here on YouTube on Sunday the 12th.
Let's go! Can't wait to watch that. It's going to be great. Yes, dude. We got some tax content next Monday. That'll be next Monday we watch that, I expect, on my day off stream.
Once it's come out on the 8th of July, you can also watch it online on 4OD, which is Channel 4's online on-demand player. And I want to talk a little bit about it. So I've got a list of questions.
I think I can probably guess what it's going to be. See, this is the problem, dude, is they show some... Okay. The issue with this is they will show some poverty-stricken family, which is sad, and they do need help, and they do need support, right? But they'll show this poverty-stricken family, and they'll act like, you know, a wealthy person say, transferring a portion of their wealth to that poverty-stricken family sorts that poverty-stricken family out, right? But the reality is, it doesn't. Because a poverty-stricken family is going to have no fucking clue how to run a business, how to manage a factory. What you do is you take adequate tax receipts to, balance the scale, certainly, and give them good public services. And if they're really struggling, give them some sort of benefit payment or something to help them up, prop them up. Sure, I completely agree with that, right? But this idea that the sort of wealth tax concept proposes is that, taking it from a rich person and giving it to a poor person is a good idea when the poor person is just not going to know what to do with it, right? They're just not going to know what to do with it. You could sign a fucking thing today and give every single poor person, £50,000. Give them all £50,000. In fact, they should do that as an experiment. Some business person should do this with like a group of people, and they should dish out like a lump sum of money, no strings attached, to a poor person to see what they do with it, right? And there's probably some that might take it and invest it and do something good with it. But I guarantee you that a bunch of them would just fucking waste it and just fucking squander it. I guarantee you there's a bunch of them that would just piss the money away. And I speak from experience, because if I was 20 and I got £50,000, that would be fucking gone. But if you take £50,000 in like your 20s and you invest it sensibly, that could turn into something very fruitful within 5, 10, 15, 20 years, I think back to when I was 20, and if I'd have put away £50 or £100 a month, which I could have done easily, I could have found £50 or £100 a month to put away. I could have just reduced my, spending on drinks at the time. I could have reduced my spending on drinks by that much a month. Easily, without fucking question. Put that into a high yield investment savings type account, right? And I'd be fucking laughing now, Or coke, or drugs, true. And this is the problem is, unless you've got the financial knowledge, like this is what I'm trying to, get my kids into, is the idea of like saving and how much things could be worth if you're just patient and you wait and stuff like that. I'm really hopeful that I can get them in that mindset so that when they're in their 20s, they don't make the same mistakes that I did, which is just squandering and wasting money all the time, Because if you are diligent and prudent in your 20s, right, you can actually be in a very good position by the time you're 30 or 40, just working a normal job. Just working at like the median income. You don't have to make loads of sacrifices necessarily. You can just put a bit of money away. It doesn't need to be much. £50, £100, put that in an investment account, one of those EFTs that track markets, and that'll grow nicely over, 5 to 10 years. Every parent says that. Well, yeah, but obviously you've got to implement what you think, And, this is one of the reasons I'm now starting to think more seriously about business structures and stuff like that, because I'm hopeful that they'll get an interest in that and they'll want to go down that route rather than, just investing or something, rather than this kind of wasteful mentality, spending money on things which are fun for an evening and then the money's gone and there's nothing you get off the back of that,
Yeah, it's incredibly hot here in London today and I am a little bit hungover, so forgive me if I'm not quite as rapid as I usually am. But the first question is...
If these stupid poors save up enough money like Chud, they can spend it inviting Bernie Blacks over to build the furniture.
How we ended up making a documentary.
Oh, very funny.
It came about basically because last year, people who've been watching the channel will know I had my book out, obviously, The Trading Game, and it was just massive, and I had this massive press campaign, there were billboards everywhere, and we were just getting messages basically every day from TV companies saying, let's make a documentary, and most of the time they were kind of time wasters without any good ideas, but we reached a point where we were being chased by the BBC, ITV and Channel 4, which is the three main free to air TV channels here in the UK. And me and Chris, who is my agent, were sort of like, well, we're never going to get a better chance than having like all 3 of the main channels pushing for us.
An agent? That's funny. Most economists I'm familiar with don't have an agent. They're just an economist. And they talk about economics. But this guy's got an agent. That's interesting, isn't it?
So we met with somebody from all of the main channels. We thought Channel 4 were the best. They suggested a couple of production companies. And they sent Louis Theroux and his business partner to come and speak to us, because they run a documentary production company called Mindhouse, and that was pretty crazy.
No, not Louis Theroux, man.
What we could do. I wanted to try and do something that would be really interesting, that would just sort of cover the state of the nation as it is right now, the state of inequality.
Dude, it's so frustrating, man, because this guy is an actual complete charlatan. He is a total economic charlatan. He was very dishonest about his time at Citibank, and his ideas, when you see him get challenged on them, he gets fucking raped, bro, because he doesn't have substantive ideas and answers. He has got populist platitudes. It's all he's got is, oh, the poor are unequal, and we need a wealth tax. We need to tax the rich. We need to tax the rich. That's it. That's all he's got. And now he's got a fucking documentary, which is going to be, I'm sure, much of the same.
The direction we're going in, and really hammer the question of like, why are we not taxing the rich more? And Channel 4 was super keen. Louis Theroux's company, Mindhouse, was super keen. They sent a director called Trevor Doxey, who is from Burton-on-Trent, near Stoke, down to meet me, and he was like fantastic right from the beginning. Like, he really wanted to understand my work, really wanted to understand what we were looking to do, and all of my ideas on the YouTube, and he's reading the book and really getting involved in it. And basically, I was just really excited at the prospect of like...
And that's what it is, isn't it? Yes. Key jangling for the pause is a very profitable venture. Yes, exactly. It's all like, well, the funny thing is, the people he's really truly advocating for, which are people who genuinely are struggling, you know, who have got like single parents, the cost of living exceeds their income, and they need handouts from the government to survive, and so on and so forth. They're, generally speaking, I don't think they're the kinds of people that are watching this. I'm pretty sure the majority of his audience is like Green Party voters, middle class Green Party voters, that just have got this kind of politics which is about feeling good rather than policy that actually does good or is thought out well, who just sit here and watch them and go, yeah man, we should just tax the rich more, and it's terrible, there's so many poor people and inequality exists, oh my god.
Obviously we've had a lot of success on YouTube, we've had a lot of success with the book. It was this question of, can we do something that's different, that's like a bit more collaborative, that the creative voice is a bit different, and can we reach more people with these ideas, and then can we use that to really...
Yeah, dude, I think to the times in my life when I've had £10 left to last for like a week, right? And that's all I've got for like a week. And so I need to go to Lidl and get the cheapest shit I can just to fucking, you know, last out the fucking week. I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to watch a YouTube video talking about inequality. Your energy and time is focused on how do I get through this tough period that I'm going through. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what your energy is focused on. You don't think I'm going to watch a YouTuber talk about what the plight of my situation. You know, you're focused on getting by and surviving with whatever you can, you know? So it's not people that are genuinely struggling that are watching this guy. It's a bunch of fucking, oh God, dude. It is Green voters. It's purely, there's a connection here with Zach Polanski, wealth tax, Green voters, this guy, patriotic millionaires. It's all kind of connected together, I think, you know? And my hope is that Andy Burnham does not go fucking near this absolutely economically illiterate dog shit, because it is a total waste of time. It's all platitudes. The policies aren't even fucking workable or worth putting into place. Very fucking annoying that this guy's got such a big profile.
We push the conversation. I think in this country, as much as social media is, in my opinion, like becoming more and more important, especially in politics, competing with mainstream media, I think within the sort of the intelligentsia, elite classes that I talk about a lot, that have a lot of political power, they really put a lot more weight and a lot more emphasis on traditional media like TV. So I was just hoping it's a chance to reach new audiences who maybe are not so much on YouTube or Instagram and start to influence a little bit more the political conversation. All right, question 2 is, what was the experience like of making...
More people need to hear his great takes like tax the rich and there's too much inequality. That is literally all he's got.
In the documentary, the answer is really difficult. It's, you know, these videos, you probably can't tell, but we normally shoot them pretty much in one take. You know, I have to spend a day or two researching the topic, trying to understand it as well as I can, doing like a little basic...
My dad was big into investing in stocks. He made a lot of money off of that and tried to teach my mum and I about it before he passed away, but it's so volatile now I'm afraid to go near it. Honestly, your best bet is to just invest in a fund that tracks like the whole market. Rather, because the thing is trading individual stocks, unless you know what you're doing and you're willing to dedicate time to it, it's a fucking hassle, man. Whereas there's index funds and stuff now, where you can literally just take whatever excess money you've got. These apps now, you can set up like a monthly thing. You can just set up a monthly payment to go into it. So you're ever increasingly putting money in, and on top of that as well, it generally outpaces and outperforms savings. So if you just leave it and just forget about it, an amount of money that you can just forget about, even if it's 20 quid a month, you know? Even if it's just 20 quid a month, just forgetting about it, letting it come out of your account on payday. What kind of fee are they taking? Oh, there's tons of platforms that take bet. It's like 0.15%, and you know, some don't do any fees for the first year. Dude, there's loads of fucking platforms now. You know, fintech has been one of the most beneficial kind of, you know, inventions or you know, developments in history for regular people investing. It's easier than it's ever fucking been. It used to be, back when I was young, right, you'd have to think about speaking to some fucking stockbroker or something, some fucking Jew that wants a big juicy cut of the package at the end of the year. But now you can set up an account like that and you can have an investment account ready to go. And in the UK, you have £20,000 per year as a tax-free allowance to save. So you set up a stocks and shares ISA, and you know, find some funds. You can look online, and it will give you information about it as well. And you can just tuck away 20, 30, 50 pound a month. Honestly, well worth fucking doing. Well worth fucking doing. Fintechs aren't insured the same way other accounts are. I mean, obviously it's not advice. It's just a recommendation. Obviously, you should speak to someone if you're serious about investing. But setting up like £20 a month and sticking it in somewhere that's got a low risk, you know, fund, you're laughing. Do that long enough and you can buy a rundown house like Chud. Well, I mean, I obviously I've been quite fortunate in that, you know, I've been able to tuck quite a lot away. But even if you can't tuck away a lot of money, you can tuck away a bit, and it's better than having nothing, you know? Are you going to cover the Kramnik Fide ban? I don't know what that is. Not sure what that is.
Storyboard, and then we sit down and we shoot for 40 minutes, and then the video is done. Documentary is not like that. The documentary is 90 minutes long. I think it's about 70 minutes without ad breaks. But I can't imagine how many hours of footage we had to shoot, often out in the freezing cold, because we were shooting a lot of the time in the winter. When you watch a documentary, what you probably don't realise is when you see sort of one... So the documentary is me travelling up and down the country, talking to all kinds of different people, you know, poorer people, richer people. We managed to get one billionaire on the show.
But the thing is, the problem... Yeah, if you know what you're doing, you can go and do a bunch of shit, right? You can go and invest in this stock, this fund, this fund, this fund. But some people don't have the fucking time for that. They don't want to fuck around. And the reality is you can literally set something up that you can forget about, and you don't ever have to fucking look at it, right? Once a year, maybe, you take a look at it to see what's going on. Please tell me you aren't taking this retard seriously. What? No, I fucking hate this guy, bro. I fucking despise this guy. I think this guy's an idiot. I've constantly talked about how much of an idiot this guy is. I'm watching this to say he's an idiot, bro.
People who really think we should tax the rich more, people who really think we shouldn't tax the rich more. And one thing I think you maybe don't realise when you watch a documentary and you see a contributor, like, you know, an interviewee on the documentary who maybe gets interviewed for 5 minutes, is often, or at least in my experience, in order to get sort of 5 minutes of footage from one interviewee, often I would have to sit with these people for 3 or...
Dude, the best thing you can invest in with your spare change at the end of the working week is donating to Chud's stream to ensure your potential entertainment needs are met for the foreseeable future and don't need Netflix. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I agree with that. In fact, guys, right? Forget what I just said. Take that 20 quid and give it to me instead. Perfect.
4 or 5 hours even. And because, you know, the nature of the documentary wanted to sort of show both sides, like show both arguments, you know, I had to spend a lot of time with a lot of people who are aggressively against taxing rich people. And personally, I often...
Bro. Okay, I'll be fair here. There are people that are aggressively against taxing rich people, okay? But that is a more extreme view. People that are wealthy or people that have got stuff, generally speaking, their perspective is, don't tax me. And there is an acceptance that if you've got broader shoulders, you should bear the bigger brunt of tax. That, you know, I think there's this representation of like the capitalist fat cat that's sat there like, you know, literally evilly, you know, gobbling gold into, you know, Jewish, gobbling gold, etc., right? And it is true, there are people like that. There are people that are very greedy and they feel put upon for paying a single penny towards the public good. But realistically, what people who are against the idea of taxing the rich are saying is not don't tax the rich. It's, you know, how much of a burden should the rich bear? That is a reasonable question to ask. You know, what is the correct level of taxation that, you know, puts the broadness or puts it on their broad shoulders, which is reasonable, but also does it in a way that doesn't have a negative detriment knock-on impacts. You know, what is the best balancing point for that, you know? What is rich? I don't know. What is rich? How much? Well, that's what he's saying. I'm just talking about what he's saying. Keep saying tax the rich. Well, you know, there's layers to this, isn't there? You've got, like, you know, a janitor that earns minimum wage. You've got an office worker at the median income. You've got an engineer that's earning, you know, 50, 60,000 pound. You've got a doctor that's earning 100,000 pound. You've got a manager of a CEO of a company that's earning 200, 300,000 pound, you know, so on and so on and so on, etc., etc., etc. So, rich is relative, isn't it? To some janitor, a doctor's probably rich. But a doctor probably doesn't see themselves as rich and they just, you know, look at the next tier as rich. Oh, and all the billionaires taxed. Okay. I mean, sure, I don't disagree that billionaires should have the biggest tax burden of all. I have a new system. Zero tax for the rich until they engage in a single public service. And then 100% tax on the poor, and then every service you can think of is public. The poor are too stupid to spend their money wisely, so this solves it.
Found some of these people, I didn't love spending, you know, 3, 4 or 5 hours sort of in there.
How much debt am I in? I mean, I'm obviously not going to give a figure. That's a bit, you know, a bit much, isn't it? But I'm in a lot of debt at the moment, yes. I'm in an absolutely eye-watering amount of debt currently.
Energy, as it were, and it was really, really draining and tiring. I had to learn a lot about how to be an interviewer instead of an interviewee. I had
1 mil, bro. What? Dude, not 1 million. Are you fucking crazy, bro? How would I get into 1 million fucking pounds worth of debt, bro? I mean, would you count a mortgage as debt? Because I think mortgage debt is different to credit cards and loans and stuff. I would see it as a different bucket of debt, right? Well, it's debt, but then if I had a serious issue, I could sell the house. And at least I'd have some, in the property that I'd be able to get. But in unsecured debt is more challenging because, you know, if you run into problems and you can't pay it, you're fucking raped, aren't you? You're totally raped. There's nothing you can do. No, sure, but it's a different kind of debt, isn't it? Right? Because there's nothing you can do, really, to clear that debt if there's a problem, necessarily.
Went on the channel, and I had a lot of really kind comments on, like, how I interviewed him and let him speak. And this is stuff which I was taught by, you know, these guys at Mindhouse, Louis Theroux's company, talking to me about the Louis Theroux style of interviewing. But it was hard. It was hard. I remember in particular one very cold day in maybe December, when the Patriotic Millionaires, who is a fantastic lobbying group of which I'm a member here in London, we're driving a bus into central London saying tax are super rich, and I met all the millionaires. I did an interview in the sleet under an umbrella, holding an umbrella for Brian Eno, and we were out there in the freezing cold for hours. I interviewed loads of people. Probably I think the most touching moment for me filming the documentary and also like in the documentary is when I interviewed an NHS doctor who is a guy I know a little bit, called Andrew Myerson, who happened to be like on this rally protesting for taxation of the rich. And you know, he'd just come from work. He wasn't really dressed for the cold. Big lad who works in the NHS, you know, saving people's lives every day. And he was cold and he was shivering, and he pulled out a little piece of paper, and I could see his hands like shivering as he went to get the paper out. And then he starts reeling off like the list of all of the things that have been closed, all of the health centres and all of the youth clubs and all of the football pitches and all of the police stations and everything, all of the things that your communities need that get shut down. And I just remember being there and watching him shivering and me being cold myself, and just getting really emotional basically. So it was difficult. It was hard work. They work you hard into you.
Bro, it is literally, dude. It is all just emotional platitudes, isn't it? It's all of it, top to bottom, is just endless emotional platitudes, rather than a hard-nosed economic analysis. So a police station's closed. Yeah, that fucking sucks. What is the reason for that, and what can change to make that be funded? That's the thing that I'm like, okay, that's interesting from an economic perspective to me, rather than pulling on the heartstrings fucking shit, dude. Welcome to left-wing politics. But it doesn't have to be, bro. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be, dude. It can be smarter and, you know, realistically taken into account economic reality that exists, rather than some fantastical concept of how it should be if magic was real.
A lot of early mornings, a lot of long days, and a lot of really just emotional times.
Left-wing politics is third world coded. It's all about McGivs. Oh my god, dude.
You know, you spend hours with rich guys who don't want to tax the rich, and then you go and you...
Dude, also, this is very dishonest as well. This guy is such a fucking liar, bro. I guarantee you, it's not all people that are just like, no, don't tax the rich. It's people that are asking more nuanced questions. It's people that are asking, how do you do it correctly, fairly, so it doesn't inhibit other factors? But he presents it as, they just don't want to tax the rich. When it's, you know, it's this caricature of some person who is like a literal fucking Mr. Pig, fucking capitalist fat cat that refuses to pay any tax. Like, it's more complex and nuanced than that, you know?
Speak to people who are like feeling the consequences of that, which is, you know, in many cases just ordinary, hard-working young men and women who can't afford homes, you know, people who see vital public services getting cut. So basically, how was it? What was the experience like? Yeah, bloody hard work, basically. But that brings me to my next question here, which is, how do I feel about the end product? Which is, I'm really proud of it. I'm really, really proud of it. You know, this YouTube.
It's also, what's the actual benefit of taxing the rich? If there's no clear benefit, what's the fucking point? Well, dude. I'm thinking about Motability in that comment there, honestly. But no, in all seriousness, right? There's some spending that is just going to be like a write-off, essentially, right? You got some disabled cretin that can't fucking get out of the house, and we need to just give them money to survive. Yes, obviously, I'm not expecting there to be a return on... That's not like an investment, right? That's not like an investment. But then if you look at, say, welfare spending on people that are currently unemployed, there needs to be some level of a return on that investment, right? Because you don't just want to funnel money into an unemployment benefit system if the people are just long-term unemployed. You need to have a perspective of how do we put money into this so people are able to support themselves in the short term, but in the long term, there are schemes that we can put money into that get these people skilled up to put them back into the workplace, you know, so they then become a productive, contributing member of society. We need debt slavery. What's on the docket? Are we tax maxing to the end of stream, Chief? Well, I'm only streaming for another hour, so I'm just fucking around, really. I'm just fucking around till I need to do the school run. I'm going to have to get this beard trimmed as well, or people are going to start thinking I'm a pedo. That's the other problem too. When I go to the school, sometimes I might get the odd funny look from a mother, thinking I'm some sort of nonce. So I've got to consider that too.
The content is like 100% me, it's entirely me, and sometimes I get a little bit sick of my own voice, to be honest, doing this YouTube. And I was really keen to just try to do some collaborative work with other people. So it was really great going around. There was basically a team of 3 of us every day, which was me, the director, Trevor Doxey, and the producer, Irene Carter. And yeah, it was just really nice, like, sort of working with these guys as a team. And, you know, I tried my best to fight hard to get what I wanted in. Sometimes it's not easy because they're sort of...
I'm looking forward to Chud's Zanderhall arc. I'll send the clips of his words from today. What Zanderhall arc? What are you talking about, dude? What are you on about? You think it's all going to collapse? Dude, you're just one of the haters that's desperately hoping it all fails, but it's not going to fail. I'm fucking laughing, bro. We're fucking laughing.
Legal problems sometimes, you know, safeguarding problems. But I fought really hard, and I worked, you know, really closely with the director, Trevor Doxey, to get something.
Dude, apparently, Zanderhall's fate is so bleak now, he had to move back in with his parents or some shit. Dude. Bro, that's mental. That is fucking mental. And I don't know what views he's getting now, but I saw one VOD had an overall total of 1,000 views, I think it was, which is probably sub 3-figure viewership. Ooh, that's tough, man. That's tough.
The end, I was really happy with. I think it's got great movement, it's got great energy. Like, it's 90 minutes, but you can sit and watch it. It never gets boring. It's got great emotion. There's some funny bits, which there were a lot of moments in the screening at Sheffield where the audience were sort of laughing out loud. I wasn't intending to be funny, but apparently sometimes I can be. And really, you know, I want you to watch it because I worked really, really hard on it, and I'm really, really proud of the product. And brings me to the last section here, which is how do I feel about it now? Not only am I proud of it, but I really think and I hope that this documentary can have a massive political impact. You know, any of you who are not watching from the UK may not be aware.
Dude. Oh, God, bro. By the way, pretty much even progressive economics advocates, right? The documentary's not out yet, but I'll watch it next week. Even like more progressive-minded economic advocates say that a wealth tax wouldn't work. Even they say, yeah, it's probably not going to work. There's other things we should do. So this idea that there's going to be some groundswell of support that is going to, you know, bring about this change, and all of a sudden wealth taxes are going to be a thing. Yes, dude, his whole thing is a wealth tax. That's his whole political project, is pressuring lobbying the government to implement a wealth tax. That's all his politics are.
Where we are about to get a new Prime Minister here in the UK. We all know who it's going to be. It's almost certainly going to be Andy Burnham. And we have a moment here where, everyone is turning to one another and saying, okay, how are we going to do things differently? And it's crazy to even hear myself say this, but we have never in the history of my life had a better chance of getting wealth taxes in this country than now. We have a real chance of winning this here. But it's not one. I'm not the only person lobbying the Prime Minister. There's lots of much richer people than me that don't want wealth taxes, and they're going to try to convince him not to listen to me. And one thing that was quite frustrating about this documentary was, and it's frustrating about working in TV, was I didn't find out till quite late notice exactly when it was going out. I thought it was going to go out in April initially, which is why I started the channel in April, because I wanted to just have all my energy going, so that YouTube could work alongside.
He's not poor, dude. He was a trader. Basically, this guy was a trader. He had a sort of middling performance, but he bigged himself up and acted like he was hot shit, right? Well, he made the bold prediction that after the financial crisis, there would be financial difficulties. Like, dude, he made the absolutely incredible take that because of the financial crisis, there was going to be, financial problems, and made money off of that or some shit. I can't fucking remember, dude. And now he's got this new fucking grift where he just spouts thoughtless progressive sentiment about tax, like tax the rich. And his formulation of that is a wealth tax of 1% on all wealth over 10 million pounds and 2% on all wealth over £1 billion. That's his policy. That's his policy that he wants to implement. And that's all he talks about.
The documentary. But obviously now we can see it's not come out till July.
Yes, and Zach Polanski will say, economists like Gary Stevenson support the idea of a wealth tax, when any credible tax organisation will say, no, that wouldn't work, and it's not a good policy.
I mean, sort of to the end of my energy, I'm getting pretty exhausted at the end of a long season. I'm going to have to step back and finish this season quite soon. And we really, really need, if we want to get these wealth taxes, if we want to get something on inequality, we need this documentary to start to drive.
Yeah, I can't remember what the figures are, but if you actually look at the amount of tax each group of society pays, it really does show that whilst, again, I'm not against the idea of the wealthy paying more tax even. I think that there are means with which more tax could be garnered. But there's this idea that you can just tax your way to making the current welfare system work, and you can't. It's not possible without severely inhibiting other factors like growth. The reality is you need to find ways to increase tax receipts, and you need to find ways to reduce the welfare bill too. But, people like this will push the idea that, if anything, because, the thing is with these policies too, it's not just about taxing the rich. They also think that they can increase the amount of public spending too. So they think that they can do both. They think you can tax the rich and you can increase public spending. Which is just, absurd. It's fucking ridiculous. Have you tried running the numbers on how things improve if we kill the poor? Have you tried not importing 1 million browns per year? Well, that's a whole other thing. Obviously, the wokes want more, yes. But there's nothing wrong in principle with some level of immigration for Labour. I think that's fine. But obviously, it did get too high with the Boris wave. So yeah, that's a whole other factor too. But yes, I think that, it's not sustainable, and there's certain policies that are just going to cost more and more and more. The two main ones are things like the triple lock and disability benefits. They're projected to increase dramatically, and it's not feasible. It's like, at some point, a politician is going to have to just fucking, be brave and say, look, these things are not sustainable and we need to find ways to walk it back,
a national conversation. And I'm going to work my tits off in the next couple of weeks. By the time this comes out, you might have already seen, I'm going to be doing tons of press. If I'm totally honest, I'm too exhausted to be doing the amount of press that I've signed myself up for. And I'm a bit scared about that because I don't like, you know, walking into the lion's den with not my full energy. But I'm going to do it anyway because I know...
Oh, please give me some clips of people raping this guy. This guy debated that Daniel Priestley dude. And he just got absolutely raped. I watched it on stream, I think. It was a great, great debate. And Daniel Priestley is... I don't even agree necessarily with his perspective. He is a lot more, you know, trickle down, reduced tax and regulation burden for growth. He's probably too capitalist for my personal tastes. But he just exposed that Gary doesn't know any of this shit. He knows nothing of what he's talking about. And he embarrassed him. But lefties will claim that he won the conversation. It's fucking mental.
That this is our last chance, really. This is our last chance to get this. If we don't get wealth taxes now, then Burnham will fail on living standards. He'll fail on the economy. Farage and Reform will win the next election. They will cut tax on the rich. Living standards will fall. And it will be a massive shit show, basically. So, even though this is coming out later than I'd anticipated, I actually think...
Chud in France have been every 2 years changing someone in government because they say they need to cut the welfare state. People protest and the government gets scared and stops the changes. We're all raped by pensions and there's no solution. There is a solution. Mine's quite extreme though.
In the end, this has worked quite well because we've had... I'm filming this before. So Gabriel Zucman, as you may know, is the French economist who I interviewed a few weeks ago, and I pushed really hard for him to be interviewed by The Rest is Politics, which is, for those who don't know, the most popular political podcast in this country. It's watched by a lot of the political classes. They agreed to interview him. They have interviewed him. By the time this goes out, that should have gone out on, I believe, Monday the 29th of June. You know, just a week later, this is coming out and the documentary is about to come out. I'm going to be doing tons of press. I think this is such a chance for us to create like a massive like media splash on this and have everyone all across the country asking Andy Burnham, why are you not doing wealth taxes? We're never going to get a better chance than this.
Dude. Oh, I got to be honest with you. It's very funny to me, the idea that a bunch of retards that don't know anything about economics demand a tax they don't understand anything about the implications. Because this guy, when he gets asked about it, like, fair enough if you support a wealth tax, that's your prerogative, right? But you need to actually have answers to questions. And he just never has any answers. He never has any answers when people ask him questions. He just loops back to, we need to tax the rich, there's inequality. It is all just emotional, populist fucking shit.
Okay, so while this is happening, while this documentary is coming out, and while I make these YouTube videos, one thing which I've started to speak a little bit about more recently on the channel is that I have been absolutely lobbying my tits off recently. I'm filming this on 26th of June, and in Monday I spent a full day in Parliament meeting MPs, which has led to a lot of very exciting rumours on the rumour mill at the moment. Listen, I'm working incredibly hard to try and get us this, but I'm tired and I'm going to have to stop soon because I'm going to burn out if I don't stop. So I need you guys to take over. I need you guys to do whatever you can to drive this into the conversation. And I think right now the big opportunities for that are watch and share the documentary when it comes out this week on Wednesday. Watch and share Zucman's interview on The Rest is Politics, which will have come out last Monday. And just talk about it. Talk about it as much as you can. Talk about it with your friends, your family. Use the documentary as an entryway. Send it to your friends and family. Send it to your mum. Start these conversations. You know, call up the calling radio stations and say, listen, have you seen this documentary? You know, I think it has to be wealth taxes. But you...
Yeah, dude. Yes, flip-flop. Wasn't this about economics? He didn't talk about anything, only himself. Dude, yes, bro. Yes, he never actually gets into the detail. He's got the headline policy, but never gets into any material of it. It is a total scam. It's a total grift this guy's pulling. And progressives gobble it up. He's got no substance. He never has any fucking substance on anything he says.
You also need to understand, as I say again and again and again, you need to understand how to deliver the most simple, compelling arguments.
Well, Flippy actually does have some knowledge of such matters. So even though he's a libtard, you know, he listens to this and knowing the ins and outs of it knows it's stupid. Dude, yes, he is so much like Russell Brand. It's the same shit. Populist, emotional platitudes. Never any actual substance. But this guy presents himself, it's worse because he presents himself as some fucking economist.
I've got a few here to remind you what I think are the most compelling arguments at the moment. Listen, the incoming UK government, and increasingly all governments across the world, have three options, and I guarantee you they will do, to some considerable degree, one of the following three things. Taxation of the super rich, taxation of ordinary workers, and further shutting down of the welfare state. That is where we are. The reason why the government has to do one combination of...
Also, the other thing as well is, even with like, how many, what is super rich and how many super rich people are there in the UK? Even putting aside the capital flight shit, how much realistically could you expect in tax receipts from the super rich if you tax them X amount? Because there aren't very many, are there? Isn't there only like 150 billionaires in the UK? Is that right? There's only like a very small amount. I don't know, dude. I just think even if you were to have everyone stay and you put this in place, how much money would you even raise by taxing the rich? Because I don't think there's that many in the UK in the first place.
Of those three things is because they are losing their wealth very quickly. That wealth is being transferred to the super rich who are not being taxed. If you don't take action on that, you only have one of these three options. If you do not tax the super rich, then I absolutely guarantee you this new Burnham government will do some combination of shutting down the welfare state and or raising taxes on ordinary working people.
See, this is the thing, bro. These people live under the fantasy that you can just keep the welfare state as it is. In fact, they want to increase it, bro. They want to increase the amount of money that's spent on fucking welfare. Like, they want more. And it's like, you know, because the thing is too, it's like, it's about projections of how much things cost into the future too. Because there's current welfare, you know, principles that are in place that will cost an ever increasing amount of money over time in ways that isn't necessarily covered by increased tax receipts from, you know, certain tax provisions that we have at the moment. You can spend more if you do it efficiently. What does that mean? Because there's some welfare money that is just dead money. You give it to someone and, you know, I mean, I guess it goes back into the economy, but it's not like an investment in the, there's some welfare spending you can do where you invest in people and they upskill themselves and they become a better labour unit to put back into the market, right? So that's fine. I think if you're doing work upskilling programs and shit, that's good. But just dishing money out to people, like, this is the thing about the inequality thing. Just dishing cash out to people. What are they going to do with that cash? Because there's some people that you give cash to and they're never going to build wealth because either their means, you know, their means are so oppressive that they can't, or they haven't got the mindset or mentality or interest in building wealth. So they'll just fritter money away on whatever, you know. France has free unis, which works for them, even though they had serious problem with young educated people fleeing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, great example, yes. Have some sort of funding scheme or, you know, fee alleviation scheme for certain university courses that's needed. Shit like that. Shit like that is good. Shit like that is worth investing in, you know?
If you don't want those things, or if you don't want either of those things, your only option is to aggressively campaign for taxation of the super rich. And I send that message also to Andy Burnham and Andy Burnham's team and Labour. If you do not do anything on taxation of the super rich, you will, just like Starmer, just like Sunak, be forced to raise taxes on working people and shut...
You can go to university, but you need to get a loan. And obviously, you know, these loans... I don't know the loan system exactly, but in some cases, people get themselves in a situation where they've got this debt and they don't really put enough towards the debt, so they end up spending fucking ages paying off and shit like that, you know?
Down the welfare state, and this will make you very unpopular very quickly, just like what happened to Starmer, just like what happened to Sunak. It's important to remember that when Starmer and Sunak came in, they were both relatively popular, and their popularity collapsed relatively quickly because the bad financial situation forced them into making bad decisions for ordinary working people. The only way you can avoid that is to tax the super rich. I think one other thing, which I think is really useful, is to, as much as you can, use that tax wealth, not work slogan. I'm not wearing my t-shirt today, but I think you can see this sticker. Got the stickers which you can buy, or make your own stickers, make your own posters.
Bro. Buy my stickers! Buy my stickers, dude! Totally worthless, retarded political sentiment on. Buy my stickers, buy my stickers!
Put them up, but just say it again and again. Why are ordinary people paying 50% while billionaires pay 20, 10% or even 0%? If you don't deal with that, inequality is going to get worse and worse, wealth will be squeezed out of ordinary families, and inevitably living standards will fall. One thing that has really amazed me in the last couple of months is the aggressive penetration of the slogan tax wealth not work into the political debate. Basically every single politician has to say in some form or another tax wealth not work. This slogan has become bigger than this channel, it's become bigger than really any other argument. Say it again and again and again and again.
What is the motive? Gary's motive is clout, attention, making some money from his YouTube channel. That's what he's all about. He's not a fucking proper economist. He's a total populist fucking moron. He just wants to have a profile. That's it. He's got no substance on anything he fucking talks about.
Working people pay 50% tax, billionaires pay 20, 10, even 0% tax. That is unfair. It will lead to increase.
Wait, what?
Any other argument. Say it again and again and again and again. Working people pay 50% tax, billionaires pay 20, 10, even 0% tax. That is
What? What billionaire is paying 0% tax, bro? What is he on about, dude? Bro, this is the kind of shit they say and people believe. They just believe this. Working people are paying 50% tax. What? Bro, what is he on about, bro?
Become bigger than really any other argument. Say it again and again and again and again. Working people pay 50% tax, billionaires.
Did he say 50? Working people pay 50% tax? No, they fucking don't. What are you on about, bro?
Pay 20, 10, even 0% tax. That is unfair. It will lead.
Find me a billionaire that pays 0% tax. Name one billionaire that pays 0% tax. That is bollocks, bro. That is absolutely fucking bollocks.
To increasing inequality, it will lead to falling living standards. Stick to the message. If you do not stop that top 1% inequality from increasing, living standards will definitely decrease. It's as simple as that. Say that message again and again and again, and let everybody know that if Burnham does not take action on that, then he will be repeating the exact mistakes of Sunak and Starmer. All right, listen, I'll be honest. I'm worried right here, right now. I cannot describe to you how hard.
Yes, dude. Oh, has anyone got the clip of that? Oh, man. Yes. Basically, he talks about, is it Duke of Westminster or something, not paying tax. And the guy's to point out to him that, no, he does pay tax, and this is how it works. And it's that meme of lefties pretending not to understand how things work, thus making conversation impossible. So he just completely, he's like trying to say, do his bullish fucking, working class shtick, as the guy just calmly lays out how his tax structure works.
I've been working in the last few months because, especially the last month or so.
Who's got the clip? It's a great clip. It's a great clip.
I'm lobbying.
I'll find it if we don't have it.
As hard as I can behind the scenes, and I've also got all of the prep for this documentary and all of the press for this documentary, as well as other things that I've been doing, like the TV adaptation of the book. And I'm trying as hard as I can to get the new government to do something on wealth taxes. I can't see them succeeding economically. I can't see them succeeding from a comms or an electoral perspective if they don't do anything on that. But it's my job.
Yeah, the thing is, I think there's some debt-based structures that you can do that limit the amount of tax you pay. I don't know the ins and outs of that. I'm not in that category yet. You know, my account, I've not unlocked the upper echelons of tax planning, touching on illegality yet. So I haven't quite got there. But the thing is that when you draw something, so you can have your money tied up in an investment, right? So you've got £100,000 tied up in an investment, right? As long as in that investment, you don't pay tax on it. You pay tax when you sell the investment, and you have capital gains tax that you pay. But if you've got that investment and there's some way of drawing money from it, when that money comes to you, you have to pay some tax on that. You know, there's some tax you end up paying somewhere along the line, somehow, some way, right? It's very difficult to receive cash in your bank account in a way that doesn't generate some sort of tax bill. Because obviously, the tax man is wise to the fact that people tuck stuff away and put stuff here, put stuff there, and they want to ensure that there's, you know, some receipt they get for people essentially getting money and cash in their bank account that they can spend. So this narrative that rich people don't pay tax is based on this concept of, well, they got their money tied up in assets, and that's true, they do. And if you've got an investment, you don't pay tax on it until you sell it, but capitalizing or taking money from that, drawing it down in some way otherwise, will generally generate some sort of tax bill in one way or another that you have to pay. And this is what the whole point of the wealth tax is you're taxing unrealized wealth. So you've got something that's worth £100,000 and you say, well, we're going to tax that as well. And obviously it brings up all the questions about how do you value it? What's the administrative burden of doing that? All the other shit about wealth taxes, yes.
It's our job to convince them they have to do it. But the truth is, I'm coming towards the end of what I can do this year. I'm the closest I've ever been probably since for more than 10 years to a burnout. And I can probably only last maybe another couple of weeks. So I need you guys to pick up the rope and start pulling. And that means, if you can, watching the documentary this week, sharing it with all your friends, sharing it with your family, doing everything you can to drive this into the public conversation. Watch Gabriel Zuckman on The Rest is Politics last week if you can. Talk about it, share it. I want to see a couple of weeks when I'm doing as much press as I can, where this is what everyone in the country is talking about. Because if we can achieve this, then we can force the UK's new government to do it. And we will be the first country in the world that really starts to do something serious about this aggressive growth in the wealth of the super rich, which is destroying living standards here in the UK and across the world. Listen, you are...
Okay, dude. I think I've got the clip here. Is this it?
One of the issues that we've got, right, and this is a big issue as well, because you care about wealth inequality. One of the biggest issues I see is that during the pandemic, we all learned to work remotely, and remote work became the norm. And what I see at the moment is huge amounts of what would have been normal British jobs are going to the Philippines, going to India, going to Vietnam, people who work remotely now. We now have 1,000 millionaires a month leaving to go to Dubai. We have 120,000 British people living in Dubai in that economy. The world's become incredibly mobile. And one of the things that's happening
I think this is it.
That
this is a
what
short
would
clip of it.
previously been good British jobs are getting moved overseas to lower cost countries. And that's technology that drives that wedge. The US is very smart in that they've built a technology powerhouse, and the UK has completely lost our technology industry. Our tech industry is in decline, same across Europe. China and the US know that the game is tech, and they're basically pulling all the tech company into their borders. And what's happening a lot is the erosion of good jobs and the erosion of just normal, well-paying jobs because they're going. And it's a bit of a self-fulfilling loop that the more we lose millionaires, the tax burden falls on everyone else, so they put the taxes up, and then the millionaires say, oh, the taxes are too high, so they leave. I've watched some of the most incredible entrepreneurs that you would want here that would employ your sister at a high rate, and they've...
Oh, by the way, dude, I think it's cut out of this clip, but Gary was moaning because his sister couldn't find work or make money, and he was asked what does your sister do? And it was like poetry. Oh Classic Gary Stevenson moment.
Picked up and left because the taxes are too
So
high.
are you saying we should tax working people less?
Well, the overall government has to be smaller.
Okay.
You can't. Whoever's
so what do you want to cut in the government?
If you, yeah, well, I mean, you'd have to.
Child services?
We'd have to. No.
Police?
No,
Dude,
no.
you see how dishonest he is, right? This guy's making a perfectly reasonable, coherent point, right? And it is true that government expenditure in the UK is really high and some savings need to be made somewhere, right? But what does he pivot to? He pivots to emotive talking point bollocks. Oh, you want to cut benefits for children, right? And he kind of tries to hammer him on this idea. And this is why this works on bleeding heart retard lefties. Because they see him as this hero that's pushing for child benefits or some shit like that. And also, on that note, yes, I do. I do want to cut benefits for children. Those greedy bastards. Yeah, cut them off straight away. But it's this emotive bollocks when the overall point that he's making is true. And there are absolutely cuts that could be made to the government. But obviously, you know, he's not sat here saying this is the exact level you can take. He's just making an overall point, which is reasonable, that yes, there needs to be a reduction in government expenditure. But he just turns it to emotion because that's where he kind of, you know, wins, is making it seem like he's this honourable guy fighting for the poor and he's an evil capitalist looking to take it all away.
NHS?
All I know is this.
Pensions?
You go to Switzerland, they spend
Welfare for single mothers?
25%.
Dude, well, dude, how do people buy this? Welfare for single mothers, disabled benefits, just listing off all of the most emotive things he can think of.
Do you want to cut?
Hold up. All I know is in Switzerland,
I'll tell you what I want to do.
The government is
cut
25%.
the taxes on those entrepreneurs and raise the taxes on the billionaires.
Yeah.
Because I worked my tits off.
How many billionaires are in the UK?
There's a lot of billionaires in the UK.
It's 150.
Yeah, so tax them all. What do they pay?
Yeah.
Listen, I worked my tits off and I paid, it was 50% top rate of tax. 50% top rate of tax plus national insurance, 60%.
So $1 million a year.
To bring my family out of poverty.
Wait, what?
More. What do they pay?
Yeah.
Listen, I worked my tits off and I paid, it was 50% top rate of tax. 50% top rate of tax plus national insurance, 60%.
So $1 million a year.
To bring my family out of poverty. At the same time, the Duke of Westminster inherited £10 billion and paid nothing. Do you think that's fair?
That's not true.
Okay, why is it not true?
Because the Duke of Westminster is one of the highest taxpayers in the country.
What does he pay?
Well, on the trust...
Just immediately raped. Immediately just fucking raped. What he said is totally wrong.
Estate, they don't pay inheritance tax because trusts can't die. They pay something called periodic taxes,
Which is how much?
6% every 10 years.
6%, so they pay 0.6% a year. So I paid 60% and this guy pays 0.6%.
Apples with apples. Inheritance tax is 40% across the course of your life. If a trust is, if a person lives who owns a trust for 70 years, then 6% times 7 would be 42. So they actually pay more.
So he pays 0.6% a year.
Pro
You're
rata.
telling me 0.6%.
But that would be the same as...
What percent did I pay per year?
No, but that's...
60%.
Hold up.
So you're saying I pay, what's 60 over 0.6?
No.
100 times the tax rate.
You're not comparing apples with apples.
Why is it not apples with apples? This guy pays 0.6%.
So you notice his tactic is literally just to talk. Right? Rather than recognise maybe he's wrong about something or he doesn't understand something or he's got something wrong. It's talk over the guy as the guy is calmly trying to, you know, lay out this point about what tax this Duke of Westminster guy pays.
I paid 60% a year.
That's inheritance tax.
I paid that 60% every year, Daniel. Every year I paid it.
You're paying income tax.
So why have I paid?
The Duke of Westminster
why do I pay more than him?
The Duke of Westminster pays income tax. He probably makes your bill blush.
Yeah, you think he pays income tax?
Yeah, well, if he's going to live, he has to withdraw money to have his income. He also, let me give you a list of all the taxes he would pay. He'd pay income tax, corporate...
The thing is, yeah, exactly. If you are drawing money, right, you pay it's either income tax or you pay dividend tax. But there's some tax you pay. Yes, there is some tax you pay. I don't know the exact structure of how the Duke of Westminster shit works, but yes, obviously, if you end up with money in your bank account, there's some tax somewhere that you have to pay.
Tax. He'd pay stamp duty when he buys a building. He pays
property tax. Yes,
taxes,
all sorts.
when he spends money. All the same taxes apply to a duke as they apply to anybody else.
So you think he...
Yeah, look, inheritance tax, trusts pay capital gains tax, and income tax, 45% for non-dividend income and 39.35% for dividend income. However, there can be some loopholes. That's true, there can be loopholes. There can be loopholes. That is true. And I don't know how they got it set up. And a lot of these wealthy people do have accountants that they pay a lot of money to find ways to, you know, minimize their tax bill. But the idea that he pays zero tax is preposterous. It's totally fucking preposterous. And I do not believe for a second that, you know, I mean, even the fucking king, bro. The king released his fucking tax rate. Even the fucking king pays fucking tax, bro.
He pays income tax on the income on that.
Any income he draws.
Okay, well, our viewers can research whether he pays income tax on his income. Because I don't think he does.
I mean, how could he
It's
not?
in a trust.
It's
in a trust.
But the only difference with a trust versus income is that the trust pays periodic tax versus inheritance
At
tax.
0.6%.
But we're only talking inheritance. That's just one type of tax.
So you think he's paying 60% on his income?
He's one of the highest taxpayers in the UK. I'm not like his big fan club, but the truth is he's one of the highest taxpayers in the UK. He's one of the biggest employers in the UK. He's one of the
biggest landowners in the UK.
Landowners in the UK, right? The issue is does he pay tax? All the same taxes that apply to you apply to him. And if you want to set up a trust, you can also pay periodic taxes as well, which would be on top of all the other taxes.
So what would you say?
But it's just not true that he doesn't pay tax.
No, what would you say? This guy has inherited £10 billion. So he's worth £10 billion. What would you say will be the total amount of tax he will pay in his lifetime?
Well, I know that just the smallest...
If I make £10 billion, I'm paying 60%.
Just one sec.
If you make £10 million and you pay 60%, that's a fucking you problem, bro. You have got the most tax inefficient fucking setup ever. If you're paying 60%, it's also bollocks, bro. You don't pay... Dude, what is he on about? 60%? Where's he even getting that figure from?
You're talking about income versus the transfer of an estate.
So why is it that the Duke of Westminster can be worth £10 billion?
You're comparing your income versus the amount he inherited, which is not a fair thing. That's not income.
Because that's his income.
Inheritance is not income.
So wait. So if I get...
Economist, by the way. This guy calls himself an economist.
Given £10 billion, I don't pay any tax. But if I work for £10 billion, I pay 60%.
If you inherit...
If this is the tax system that you want, you will end up in a system where the kids of the rich will own everything.
I'm just saying
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And that's fine because that's our kids.
You're not telling the truth about his
Let's support it. Let's have a tax system where your kids and my kids and Stephen's kids are multimillionaires and these guys out there can't afford to feed their kids and put the heat in.
That's not what I'm saying.
But
that's not what I'm saying.
That is what you will get. Listen, that's what I'm betting on. That's fine because I'll make money.
Just knows he's pinned down on this, knows that he's raped, so he pivots off to my kids, my heating, my kids, my heating, but my kids. It's so obnoxious. But it works and people buy this, dude. People buy into this. By the way, I missed the kicks that I got. I saw that I got 2 kicks earlier. Thank you for that, appreciate that.
Money in the markets, it's fine, and you'll make money, It's our viewers who will be poor, and that's fine. That's fine for us.
Let's explore the other alternative, right? So let's say tax the rich, right? Yeah. So let's play the game of tax the rich.
Tax the owners, not the workers.
Yeah, so
the owners.
So the issue that we have with the rich is that the number one most valuable...
Dude, is this really what lefty politics are like? I don't think it has to be. Aren't there good lefty economists that have good things to talk about and say? Why is everyone saying yes, dude? Why is everyone saying yes? Oh.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Same guy who sent in first light review. If you are not going to watch it on stream, highly recommend watching it off stream. Your decision to drop it will be vindicated, as was my decision to refund it.
Thank you.
You had with it are in the review.
Thank you for the $5. I've got limited time today, but I will watch it. I will watch it on stream. I'll watch it. I'll go live earlier than I normally would on a given day, and we'll watch it then. Is it racism? Is there any racism in there? Thank you for the $5 there. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Assets in the economy now are intangible assets. So there's this chart called the S&P 500 of the 500 richest countries in the world, in the US. Sorry, in 1970s. 75% of the value of the S&P 500 was physical assets like property, and today it's less than 10%. It's closer to 5%.
So you think that housing is not particularly important?
Just let's stick with what I'm saying.
Whoa! This guy's so dishonest, man. He's a total hack, totally misrepresenting what he's saying to try and get some sort of pathetic win. Like, do you see how bad this fucking Gary... He is flailing like fuck, but people think he's clever and good, and he's right. It's crazy.
The powerhouse, the engine room of the economy is digital assets, and that's reflected in the S&P 500, for example, which is 95% intangible assets. One of the issues that we have is that the richest people are completely mobile now, so they can be absolutely anywhere in the world. So if you come up with this idea of let's tax richest people 1%, if a tiny proportion of them leave, we're all in trouble. So
these really rich guys, what do they own?
Companies.
And why are those companies worth money?
Because investors say they are.
And where do the revenues come from?
Globally.
Okay.
The issue is that these companies operate globally now.
So if
like,
I'm a billionaire...
take my company, for example.
Yeah.
My company has 8,000 customers in 150 countries.
Okay.
We could be anywhere. If you push a button...
What country is your biggest single revenue source?
Probably the US now.
Let's say you move to Cayman Islands.
So now, it's so transparent what his tactics are. So he doesn't really have good responses to any of this. So he just starts asking questions, you know, until he can get a point he can get in on with his fucking populist, emotive slop, rather than actually engaging with the conversation and talking about the matter at hand.
And the US says we're going to tax.
Bro, look, I don't agree with all this guy's
that's
points
wonderful.
necessarily.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
May racism, I don't care about neggers. Refunded it because gameplay and level design was shit.
Thank you for the $5. Terrible that you use such a word, but thank you nonetheless. What this guy, I mean, again, I don't agree with all of his views, but the point he's making is that nowadays, because of the way that the economy works, and because of the global supply chain, and because of digital being such a big component of our economy, someone can move countries like that if they want to. So if you're in a given country and the tax burden becomes too high, you can just fuck off and go somewhere else. And then, you know, people will stay in the UK because they like being in the UK for whatever reason, okay? But good schools, I don't know if I can know, whatever reason you want to point to, but that's got a limit. And if it's not a scare tactic, it's true. It's how is it a fucking scare tactic, bro? It's literally just the case, bro. It's literally just the case that if you look and they say right, we're announcing this tax, and you're a very wealthy person, and that is too much for you to bear, you can, in the matter of days, move country, go somewhere else, set up there, you know, tax burden's lower, blah blah blah, and then you're off, right? Overnight, potentially, you could do that. They're not tied somewhere. They're not tied to a country in the same way that, you know, I am, you are, other working people are. So that's why there's this balance of not increasing taxes too much to the point where people will just fuck off.
Your revenue at point of sale. What can you do?
Well, that's different, right? Because that's not taxing billionaires, that's taxing companies. See, when you say tax the rich on their wealth, that's different to saying tax companies a consumption tax.
Oh, but you just said the rich own companies. You said that's what they own.
Yeah, but you're saying, how do you tax them, right? So do you tax their wealth, which is what they own?
The problem is, if you tax their business, that just gets passed on to the consumer normally. A company will not just envelop a tax increase. There'll either be some sort of further consequence to that, like, you know, for example, the national insurance increase in the UK, there was changes to companies' growth plans, you know, some companies decided to cut back hours, some companies decided to cut off workforce because their national insurance bill increased so dramatically. Or if it's other types of tax that the company has to pay, they'll just make their products more expensive. It's like with VAT, you know. If you look at a cost of an item in the UK, you've got the core cost of it, and then 20% on top, they pass on to you, the customer, for VAT. So I just don't really understand this kind of idea that you tax a business and somehow it affects the owner. Well, in a lot of cases, you know, you're not taxing the owner, you're taxing the business, because the business is a separate legal entity, and then they'll just pass the cost on to the consumers. And that's what this guy's talking about, it being a consumption tax.
Or do you tax the companies where they trade? Typically, consumption taxes get passed on to consumers.
Oh, it's not a consumption tax, it's the tax on the ownership.
Yeah, but if you simply say, when you're doing revenues, then that's a consumption
if we start to tax the profits of companies...
By the way, I'm not exactly against you on companies. I think it's disgusting that a British company can take out a Facebook ad to sell to a British...
Yes, dude, that's the other thing too. Dude, oh my God. Who remembers when they were pushing for like $20, $25 minimum wages? Do you remember this? When they were pushing for these fucking absurd, unworkable amounts of money. And they've got no conception of what impact could that have on a business if you did something like that. I mean, dude... I'm for a minimum wage. I think minimum wage is fine. But you need to be cautious that you don't create circumstances where it negatively impacts businesses because the cost is too high and that has a knock-on effect of, you know, jobs, hours, things like that. Yeah, it's literally, they can't think past, well, if we do this, it helps workers, without thinking of further effects that could have further negative detriment on workers.
Consumer a British product, and Facebook pretends to be in Ireland on that transaction. And Amazon, you can buy something on Amazon in Britain from a British supplier from a British warehouse, and Amazon pretends to be in Luxembourg in that situation. And that sucks, right? Like that does not seem fair, and it strikes me as very strange that the government...
I own a small pizza restaurant and a bar. Well, the thing is, I don't have the same... thought, you know, I don't have like, you know, obviously DK is like a contractor, right? So he's not like a paid member of staff, so to speak. But I can see with some of the stuff that I see now, I can see the idea that, let's say that I had, you know, 4 people working for me at minimum wage, right? Right? And I'd pay that out every month. Now, the thing is, I say could afford that now on my current revenue level. But if the government said, we're going to increase minimum wage to, say, $20 an hour, right? Well, that creates a problem for me because I can't then afford to pay 4 people $20 an hour. So what am I going to do? Well, I'll fire one of them and then I'll just pay 3 people $20 an hour and just have to make it work. My business expense is extremely low because obviously it's just going live every day. To be honest with you, it's too low. I need to get my new monitors and shit, but I just can't, you know, really justify it right now because I just bought the house and I've got to pay the fucking tax man next month as well. So I just need to wait a bit until I get some new shit, basically. But yeah, it's very low for this kind of thing. Unless I started doing merch and stuff like that. But let's be honest, I'm lazy. I'm fucking lazy. But anyway, the point is that there are obvious impacts when you look at it like that. And you know, Progressives has got this concept that businesses can just endlessly soak up and eat costs. And the other problem too is, you know, government regulation on things like minimum wage is one piece of the puzzle of business expense. There's also things like the cost of materials, the cost of keeping the lights on, and energy bills have risen. You know, it's funny because I actually looked at this recently because there was a local thing that had closed, a chain had closed a local branch, right? And it only opened recently, like a year before. And I thought, why the fuck is that closed? And I looked into it, and it's because essentially the business got squeezed by increased energy costs. They also have got increased material. It's a bakery, so it was increased cost of materials like flour, etc. That costs more. And then the Labour government increased national insurance contributions for employers, right? And they'd had this growth plan where they'd wanted to go and open stores all over the south. But then they had this tax bill they had to pay,
but how do I
and they couldn't afford to do it all.
Depressed people.
A lot of Spanish and many French streamers buy a flat in Andorra and move there to obtain citizenship. Andorra has way lower taxes, and even with how expensive the flat is and life in general is there, it's still worth to do.
Thank you for the $5. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. But yes, assume it's Greg's. It's close enough, right? So what it meant is they'd invested this money. They'd invested... my headphones are going to run out of battery, but I'm going soon anyway.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
The thing is, just don't care about the further effects and rule that shit with an iron fist. You don't like it, Richie? Tough, BRO. Then we'll freeze your assets if you try and leave with the wealth. Totalitarianism W, pressing the button W.
Thank you for the 333. Thank you. So this company has spent this money doing out this store, right? This Greg's equivalent, doing it out, hiring staff, getting it up and running, getting it operating. And although there were other factors too, the national insurance increase meant that they had an increased tax bill that they couldn't afford to pay because they just spent all of this money growing the business out. And they had to come up with an agreement with HMRC to pay it. And part of that meant that they had to close the store because it was too costly to operate it and pay for everything. Do you see what I mean? You see that and you just think, fucking hell, that seems insane. That this growth that the company was investing in has now stopped. Those people have lost their jobs. For what? For fucking what? And what a waste of money, what a waste of fucking time, building it out. It's just a fucking nightmare. And it just makes you think about that there are further impacts than just the headlines that you see of this tax increase, that tax increase. It does have real knock-on impacts that you need to be considerate of when you're thinking about, making these changes. And there's like business rates you have to pay. Business rates is a big point of contention too. Burnham's talking about cutting tax for retail outlets because retail's raped at the moment, which I think is probably a good call. It's just hard. It's just fucking hard, isn't it? My boyfriend uses retirement to open the pizza place, but I paid out of pocket to open my bar. So many retarded expenses just opening up. Yeah. A lefty wouldn't think like that. You say you're a lefty, but you do not think like one. Why wouldn't a lefty think like that, though? Why wouldn't a lefty think like that? I think if you're some fucking, LARPer who thinks we're going to have a centrally planned economy, sure. But I think you can be realistic to the system that we're in, advocate or think or believe for, a better benefits or conditions for workers, and recognise that there are economic realities that businesses have to exist within, no?
Is okay with that. Right now, the government is chasing down mums and dads who sell a few things on eBay and chasing them for taxes, but they don't talk to eBay. They're paranoid about someone doing a little bit of a side hustle on Facebook, but Facebook's fine to pretend to be an island. So I don't agree with all of that, right? Like I think we're missing some serious tricks here. But the idea with taxing billionaires at wealth, billionaires will just leave. They just get up and leave, and not just billionaires.
But what do billionaires own? What do billionaires own?
Companies.
And where do companies get their money from?
Revenues.
And where do the revenues come from?
Purchasing. People purchasing.
And where do those people live?
All over the world.
We can tax them at that point.
Well, that's consumption tax.
This is the thing.
That's a consumption tax.
No, it's not. It's a
VAT,
tax on
VAT is a tax on
you
revenues.
can tax these guys on profits based on where the revenues come from.
So it's very easy to make profits internationally. See, Stephen had a Starbucks cup. When he buys that Starbucks, it's bought from a British company who licenses the Starbucks logo from Luxembourg or somewhere like that. So 15%. So here we are saying, oh, we're going to tax their profits. They say, oh, I wish we were profitable. Sorry. Unfortunately, we had to do that licensing deal with that international corporation.
I know how profit shifting works. Okay, so are you telling me a company is selling to the UK, the US, enormous amount of profit in the US?
He's got like nothing, bro. Lefties valorize this guy and put him on a pedestal. He's got nothing. He is one of the most retarded political commentators out there. And you see it in conversations like this. But lefties will look at it and tell you dead in the face, no, he won actually. He's actually correct in this.
They turn around and say, actually, our profit's not in the US. You think the US is incapable of going and looking if that's seeing where the profit is?
I'm not saying that you can't do this. I'm saying that the benefits of doing it, it's so hard to tax wealth, for example, or it's so hard to tax millionaires and billionaires, that that you end up cutting off your nose to spite your face. For every, like, if we create Britain, for example, and we build a brand which is that we're anti-wealth, we don't want you to ever have more than 10 million. If you've got more than 10 million, we punish you. Every young entrepreneur who comes to me and says, Dan, do you think I should start a company here in this country? I'm going to say, well, if you do, they'll take it. As soon as you start to make it, they'll take it. As soon as, if you're successful, if you get investment, they're going to tax you at your wealth. If you sell the company, they're going to take it off you. I'm going to basically say to that young entrepreneur, don't build your business in Britain. Go start it somewhere that they're more proactive and positive towards entrepreneurs.
Are we seeing that now with this, they call it the millionaire exodus, which is, for people that don't know, the UK is set to lose the greatest proportion of millionaires in the world this parliament. I'll put a graph on the screen, which is this one here.
I don't know, this is like capitalist propaganda to me. Someone put something in chat earlier about millionaires leaving, but I don't know about that. Is that true?
This one here. And that little red line here is us losing all of our millionaires at the moment. And in 2024, it's estimated that 10,800 high net worth individuals left the UK, which is a 157% increase from the previous year, which means that 1 millionaire is departing every 45 minutes. The UK millionaire exodus is equal to losing 530,000 average taxpayers. And another stat, the top 10% of earners in the US account for nearly half of all consumer spending. The top 1% of income taxpayers in the UK are projected to contribute about 30% of total income tax from 2024 to 2025. Why are all these millionaires running away?
Well, it's not because they're taxing their wealth, because we don't have any wealth taxes.
Why do you think they're leaving?
I think the reason they're leaving is because the UK economy is really, really weak. Because the UK consumer is really, really weak. Because we've absolutely crushed the spending power of your average British family.
And where are they
going? Your average
going?
British family can barely afford to feed the kids and turn the heating on. So why are you going to start a business here when the customers are absolutely impoverished?
Look, it corresponds with a new tax that we brought in, which was we ended the non-dom scheme. So the non-dom scheme basically said if you're living in the UK...
Dude, you see what I mean? It's just endless emotional platitudes. They leave because people don't spend any money. Dude, I mean, I don't know what the reality is. I don't know if what this guy's saying is true. But he's certainly more compelling than people are leaving because there's no one spending money. No one can turn the heat on.
But you've got businesses all over the world. Then we only tax you on what you've got in the UK. And if you die in the UK, we'll only tax you on your UK assets for inheritance tax if you're a non-dom. But if you die in the UK and you've got wealth in India, once that non-dom scheme ended, they basically said, we will tax you on everything globally. If you're if you're a tax resident in the UK, everything you've got globally, we want 40% of it. So unfortunately, every wealth manager contacted their clients and said, you can't stay here. You're going to have to...
Is that true? I don't know if that's true. I don't want to just go with it because he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. But it sounds good.
Get out. It's gotten really...
Flip-flop. Is this guy telling the truth? Is this guy telling the truth, flip-flop?
1,000 people a month are leaving, and in the UK, 1% of people pay 30% of the taxes, 10% of people pay 60% of the taxes. And you imagine if we're sitting out at dinner and there's 10 of us out for dinner, and one person says, hey, I've got this, I'll get 60% of the bill tonight. We say to them, no, it should be 70%, it should be 80%. And they say, you know what, I'll get up and leave. So they leave, everyone else's bill just doubled. So what's going to happen is if we drive the millionaires out of this country, every ordinary normal person who pays 10 grand a year in tax will now have to pay 20 grand a year in tax.
So the reason they left is because we used to allow them to not pay tax. And
on their global incomes, on their global
So isn't it a bit
businesses.
more like if we were 10 of us at dinner and there was one guy who came onto dinner on the condition he wouldn't pay, then leaves?
Bro, dude, and then he's obviously just making a very simple point and he just Oh, dude, I fucking hate this guy, man.
Because these guys weren't paying tax anyway. If the reason they left is because they weren't paying tax.
It's like saying, hey, I'll pay 60% of this table, and they say at the table, hey, wait a second, we also want you to pay for everything that's happening at other restaurants as well.
Isn't it a bit more like these guys?
And we're stretching the analogy.
Most millionaires that are leaving are pension age going to Spain, next to a bunch of people going to Dubai to pay 0% in all taxes.
The condition, you yourself said.
No, you're 100%
The reason why they left is because we let them live here on the condition that they didn't have to pay taxes.
On their global, taxes matter, right? So why is everyone going to Dubai? Dubai, they're going there because there's no tax.
These guys, they live in Dubai.
Hey!
Their money comes from the West. They are making money from the West, while your average Western ordinary person watching this show now cannot afford to buy a house, cannot afford to have a family, we can tax those revenues at the point of sale. Why do we allow these guys?
It's a called a consumption tax.
No, it's not. It's a tax on profits. It's not a tax on consumption.
You just said at point of sale, which means it's a consumption
tax. Based on the profits. You look at how much profit they have,
that's
and
not
then
a
you work
consumption
out where the profits go. Exactly, it's not a consumption tax, like I'm saying.
So if you tax profits, right, then those profits have to accumulate in that country. And because of the digital ecosystem that we now have, the world we now live in, I can lease the database off of my company in Luxembourg. I can license license my logo from a company.
I understand how profit shifting works.
Gone.
Okay, so listen, these guys are not Gandalf.
The problem is that Dan is obviously just explaining realities as they exist. Now, should they exist? Well, no, I mean, yes, it's obviously absurd. I mean, he himself was saying he disagrees with the way that, like, Facebook operates, right? So that's stuff that should be addressed and should be... Because, you know, Facebook are not going to up and leave if you start challenging them on these tax loopholes that they take advantage of, right? They're going to have to operate in the UK. So there's ways and means that you can tackle that. But, you know, it's just the reality that there are certain structures that exist that you can't really, you know, it's all very well saying you don't like them, but they exist, and just increasing tax doesn't necessarily fix the issues, you know.
Just say we don't accept profit shifting. We don't.
Oh my god, dude! Chud Logic smoke alarm is the most annoying account that comes in here. There is no fucking chirp, bro. Also, by the way, guys, enjoy this. Enjoy this while it lasts, guys, okay? Because this is going to be the last stream that you see here. I'm going to be moving into the office, my studio, for Wednesday. So enjoy the view. Enjoy the view, guys. Enjoy the view.
Accept profit shifting. China does not accept profit shifting. We did not accept profit shifting 50 years ago. We do not have to accept profit shifting. But you have a government class who are extremely wealthy and a media class who are extremely wealthy saying it's impossible to tax rich people. And I would like to say, I will agree 100%. It is difficult to tax rich people.
Yeah.
It is very, very, very difficult to tax rich people. I don't come here saying I want to tax rich people because it's easy. I know it's hard. I know probably I'm going to lose. I know
no
been desperate.
Hey, Fjellmist! Thank you for the kicks. Thank you. Thank you. Also, the office isn't very fancy. It's literally just, you know, it's a bigger room. It's a bigger room, essentially. And, yeah, I think this is going to be better. And also, it's going to be cooler at the time that I stream as well. And I won't have the same problem. I'm trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to structure it. But I think the desk, I think I've got an idea. I think it's going to be good.
Poverty, I know that. I do this because it is hard. If we are a country which says to ourselves, we don't try and do things which are necessary to keep our kids out of poverty because they are hard, then our kids will live in poverty. I don't need to be here. I'm a multimillionaire just like you. I could be in the Philippines drinking pina coladas. I come in here because I come from a poor background and it's ordinary families like my family, like the kids I grew up with, whose kids are going to be in poverty. It's difficult, but it is necessary. Sometimes we have to do things not because they're easy, but because they are hard. That is what makes a rich country rich, and that is what protects ordinary people. Listen, our grandparents lived in poverty. Did they say, let's not change it because it's hard? No, they didn't. They fought and they demanded healthcare, education, housing, food, and they got it. They got it.
So
that's why my parents could live a good quality life. They got those things. They got those things, and they were aware that in order to do that, you could not allow the super rich who have been living lives of luxury for hundreds and hundreds of years to eat everything while ordinary families couldn't afford to feed their kids. I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult. And I know I'm probably going to lose. I know that. I know I'm probably going to lose, and that means our viewers will be poor. But I do it anyway because I do not want this country that I grew up in to fall into desperate poverty.
Are we recording?
Dude. Lefties love that guy. Lefties fucking love that guy. The thing is, as well, is I don't fucking know, do I? What do I know about economics? But you can just watch it, and you can not know anything about it, and you can just understand that he's just completely flailing. as the guy just is calmly explaining different facets of tax and economics. What just popped up on my timeline here, though? What is this? Pensions are not welfare. Bro, we need to stop counting it as welfare. You pay in, and when you retire, you get it back. Dude, what the fuck's not true? Why is this fucking bollocks, bro? People don't know it works. Bro. That's unbelievable, bro. No, it's not true. It's not true, bro. That's not how it works. They explain it here. They got community noted. The UK state pension is an unfunded pay-as-you-go system where national insurance contributions from current workers fund payments to current pensioners. Rather than a personal pot repaid to contributors, it is included in central government social benefit expenditure. Yeah. There's not a pot of money where your money is kept safe when you retire. It's technically the money younger people pay in pays for current recipients of state pensions. Because neoliberals and Farage are trying to justify cuts to the pension. The latter wants to means test it so that those who experience unemployment get a lower amount. As a socialist, that doesn't sit well with... Bro. These lefties, man. These fucking lefties, bro. Dude. What the fuck, man? They've got no idea what they're talking about, do they? Literally just straight wrong. Purely 100% factually wrong. When challenged on it, why are you saying this? For political reasons. For political reasons is why I'm saying it. Doesn't matter that it's bollocks, it's just for political reasons. By the way, I think that the state pension should be means tested. Yes, I'm all for that, bro. What do you think, someone in the upper echelons of wealth as a pensioner, what do you think they do with their fucking state pension? They use it to further enhance their fucking wealth, bro. They don't even need it. They don't even fucking need it, man. And that's the problem too. This meme that they've paid into it makes people think that they're entitled to it or should be entitled to it. I disagree. I think if you means test a state pension, that's totally fucking reasonable. Yes, I'm all for that. Yes, why not? Dude, they've even got the links. They've even got the fucking links, bro, to absolutely rape this person. Terrible stuff. Oh. Wait, what is this? Another wealthy person shitting on him.
What do you make of Gary Stevenson's ascendancy and that sort of messaging that's happening in the UK?
Well, first, a frivolous point, which is...
Oh, yes, dude. A fat capitalist shitting on him.
If you want to help with wealth redistribution, Gary, go out and spend some fucking money, right? I mean, he was earning like £2 or £3 million a year and only earning one pair of shoes, okay? And his mates from school were working in JD Sports. And I couldn't help thinking, reading the book, Gary, just go down to JD Sports and just buy a few pairs of shoes, help out your mates, okay? Get a hot tub, but
get a hot
fundamental insight, unbelievably stingy. Do you not think? You read that book?
I haven't read it. I've seen him talk on.
Jeez, Gary, just go and enjoy it for crying out loud. Okay. I think you get that weird thing actually in banking, which is so much of your enjoyment stuff back then was covered by an entertainment budget, okay, that you got really, really resentful about spending your own money. You see what I mean? Most of us, the money comes in, 80% of it walks straight out again because we piss it up the wall. I haven't got an air fryer for the second bedroom, But there are people who kind of, if you're in that very corporate world where more or less all your fun is taken care of by some expense account, you actually find spending your money disproportionately painful. He's absolutely right in his insight that money is becoming unhealthily concentrated. In the two things I would say, he's absolutely right that economics uses these single representative agent models which don't capture inequality. Okay? I would argue,
dude, he's literally
Gary,
this.
that you need to read up a bit about Georgism, which I think the great ideas of Henry George and the land value tax would actually take care of a lot of that.
He's literally this meme, bro.
Land ownership, because property ownership is effectively you are buying the right to impose taxes on the younger generation. So I mean, when people invested in gold, okay, it doesn't do anybody else any harm because I can make do without any gold. Okay, you know, I'm not massively into bling, I'm not hugely into jewelry. Okay, we can all get by without gold. If there's a bloody a Dutch tulip boom, okay, I'll just switch to gladioli. Okay, but I can't substitute.
Do you have an anti-capitalist stance? I mean, I think if there was a way to wave a magic wand and change things, I don't think it's necessarily the best way to operate things. The problem is that you need to deal with the reality that you exist in. And that's why I find these fantastical concepts that are presented, that are antithetical to how market economics works, is stupid and pointless. Why fucking bother? You might as well just find the best solutions you can within what we exist in, whilst, you know, hopefully conceptualizing something better down the line if technology improves and things change. But today, I think that, you know, market-based economics are the only game in town. So whilst I would hope for something different or better or more favourable or not capitalism in the future, I think that today, the ideas that you're proposing and talking about, you know, I think you've got to kind of engage with that, really. You see what I mean? I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, the things that I generally believe in are lefty principles that slot into a market-based system, like social housing alongside a private housing market, social healthcare alongside a private healthcare model, things like that, you know? And there's some things which are just, there's no substantive reason to privatise it, so you might as well have it owned centrally by the government, like water, rail, energy as well. Although, I mean, the energy market actually, I think has benefited from marketisation. Rail is debatable. Do you think so? But yeah, stuff like, you know, water absolutely should be publicly owned. I don't understand why we have private water companies when each area has got one company that you operate through. So what's the fucking point? Might as well just have it, you know, government owned. We just fucked the model. Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, sure, it's debatable. But the point is that, you know, I believe in public ownership of things which make sense to be publicly owned. Is private water really causing problems? I mean, there were some scandals with what certain private companies were doing. And, you know, I can't remember the details of it, but they were like, you know, the idea they were pumping sewage into rivers and shit like that. I think there was some scandal where there was waste water wasn't being dealt with correctly, and obviously that's bad for everyone. Oh, they were giving out dividend. What water companies were giving out dividends while receiving bailouts from the government? Is that true? Fucking hell, dude. Yeah, but the point is that, you know, a government would not, I mean, obviously you can't say exactly what would happen, but you would hope that a government would not just randomly pump fucking wastewater into rivers. Like, I remember the vague details of it. It was like, you know, there was wastewater that hadn't been cleaned correctly, and so there was like laundry detergent and shit like that in there, and that was getting just dumped into rivers and stuff like that, rather than actually being cleansed so that you could have a safe reintroduction of it into waterways.
For property at some level, if your employer demands you work in a major city, okay, and land and commutable land is scarce, other than the blimp, of course, where you could just live tethered above Berkeley Square, 400 feet up, okay? Other than your blimp solution, there's no escaping the depredation.
Well, the basic concept is that profit motive in a market-based economy, you've got competition, so you want to, you know, make sure that you're offering the best thing you can in order to compete with the market. Or, conversely, something that has a, you know, a competitive price point whilst cutting away some of the luxuries of the product, right? Like, there's different ways you can look at it. But if you've got the marketization of a product where there's one option, one as a monopoly, what's the point? You might as well have the government run it, and then they can reinvest anything that they make off the back of it back into making the service better, and don't have to have, you know, a group of people that they pay money out to, you know, dividends, shareholders, company bonuses, executive bonuses, stuff like that, you know.
And seeking landowners. And what has happened is that we've, in a way, we've sanctified wealth and been pretty mean on income. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've taxed away income discrepancies pretty energetically, but they aren't that big. Okay, I mean, what I mean by that is, if you look at income inequality, even before tax, never mind corrected after tax, you know, the number of people who earn, like, you know, 20 times median income, okay, they exist, but there are very few of them, and they pay an enormous amount of income tax. I mean, huge amounts of income tax. In other words, that's someone who's probably like a high-end lawyer in a partnership in, you know, a London Magic Circle law firm. Now, there are a lot of people I'd rather the money went to than people in law firms, but nonetheless, those people pay a lot of tax, whatever you think about it, okay? By contrast, wealth inequality is monumental. I mean, there are people who, if they walked into a football stadium, every single person on average in that stadium would now be a multi-millionaire.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I need to go soon anyway, so... This is the guy that was debating the Gary guy, though. He actually responded to this, to that video that we watched about the documentary. And he shared this graph. Wealth share the richest 1%. And it just makes me wonder if there is... Because I've got the libtard programming that there's a big problem with wealth inequality that needs to be resolved. But is that the case? Gary's theory is that the cause of wealth inequality is wealth inequality. In his Oxford thesis, he claims that wealthy people become rich, buy assets, and then use their passive income to buy more and more assets. He also claims that the rich don't pay taxes like the rest of us. If his theory was correct, and the UK was experiencing a wealth inequality crisis, the share of wealth held by the top 1% would be rising. It's not. It's been stable for decades. The two reasons we're seeing issues at the bottom of the economic pyramid is because of technology and low-skilled migration. Oh, he's based. Oh, he's based as well. He's based too. Let's go. I like this guy even more now. Technology is replacing entry-level jobs, and to the degree that there are entry-level jobs in the UK, now has a large population of low-skilled migrants competing for these jobs. These two factors put massive downward pressure on people at the lower end of the economy. What we're seeing is millions of young people who are economically inactive, millions of people whose only economic opportunity is to claim any available government benefit. No, you don't understand. They've all got depression. They're all mentally ill. They need the money. They can't help it. They can't get a job. It has nothing to do with the rich. The cost of housing has also risen. It's not because a tiny group of elites buy up houses. It's because the government had a decade of low interest rates and stimulus. And dude, he is literally hitting out at every possible group you could want. An aging population don't want to sell their homes and pay stamp duty. Yes, dude, let's go. He's going after the fucking baby boomers sat in their massive houses. Let's go. Let's go. who don't want to sell their homes and pay stamp duty on a smaller place. We actually have over 9 million homes with 2+ spare rooms. Rich people are not interested in owning a 3-bedroom terraced house in the Midlands. Yes, dude, this is a, you know... Am I sniffing a lot at the moment? I've just got some sort of thing. I don't know what it is. Hopefully when I get into the other room it will be better. Okay, well, I'll figure it out. I'm not a cokehead, dude. There's a lot of dust at the moment. It's easy to blame the rich for the problems we see, but the truth is hard to hear. The UK is only surviving because we still have about 3 million high earners who are paying historically high taxes. Actually, just 300,000 people are paying a third of the taxes, and 30,000 of them are paying 10% of the tax bill. In a country with 70 million people, a few football stadiums of hard work and responsible, enterprising people are paying disproportionate taxes, and demonising them isn't helpful or based on any accurate data. Flip-flop, you're my economic advisor. What say you? Because this guy is like a hardline capitalist entrepreneur guy, so I don't necessarily like trust him. Do you know what I mean? But he is very good at obviously talking, and he does use grok a lot as well. He does use grok too. What are you saying, Flip Flop? Gary is right and you're wrong. The 1% of dude. The top 1% is an increase in their wealth. The problem is the top 1% are consistently misidentified because they do not keep their wealth in audible liquid assets. If the wealthy are able to keep their money in a way that cannot be detected by the state, how will a wealth tax collect any money? Oh, got him, got him. Flip-flop, is this true? Flip-flop, is this true? Anyway, Flip-flop, is this true? I need to go soon, so you know to tell me quick. The statement about old people with stamp duty is totally correct. It's the same reason my parents won't. Yeah, the problem is that there is like Chinese investors buying up London flats and shit like that, right? But there are a ton of old people who own a house that they've owned for years and they're sitting in it because they don't want to sell up and get a smaller place because they have to pay, and they'd rather go through inheritance tax. And if it's like a 3-bedroom in the Midlands, it probably wouldn't hit the criteria for inheritance tax, so they want to be able to pass it on to their kids for free. Oh my god, do you know what I was looking into? What is it? Lifetime mortgages and shit like that. Are you guys familiar with this concept and like what it is as a product? Basically, it's a way that baby boomers fuck over their kids because they get cash out of the property, pay a lifetime mortgage, and then when they die, it gets sold, and any extra money goes towards the bank, basically. So they can go on some cruises. So they can go on a fucking cruise. Bro, honestly, you don't hate baby boomers enough. You do not hate baby boomers enough. Some of the most pampered, most handout fucking group in society that do everything they can. They do everything in their fucking power to not hand over shit to their kids. That's what Chris Chan's mum did. No, I'm not a baby boomer. I'm a millennial. I'm a millennial. I'm a millennial, dude. I'm a millennial. And yeah, it's very frustrating. Anyway, guys, oh, that was fun. I love talking about taxes. I'm waiting to hear back to find out what the damage is for the tax year just gone. But apparently, from what I've been looking into, if I change from a sole trader to a limited company, I don't then have to do a payment on account in January for the tax year after that. I'll just have to pay the tax from what I've already earned, and then I go on to a new structure, and I won't have to pay tax until... No, I need to pay a balancing payment, but then I don't need to pay tax like until 2028 or something. I don't fucking know, dude. I need to talk to the accountant about it, because honestly, the internet is so confusing trying to look this shit up. But yeah, I'm going to become a company director, I think. I'm going to become a company director, guys. Going to have a business card made that I won't be showing on stream. Dude, I'm going to have to call my company some fucking stupid name. Because if I call it like Chud Logic Media, people can dox me. People will be able to fucking dox me, dude. I can't be having that. So I need to come up with some random name so it doesn't look suspicious. Cock Lover Limited. Okay, dude. When do you have to start paying withholding tax when you pay DK? Well, first of all, I think there's some agreement between the US and the UK on that. And secondly, DK is a contractor, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. Immigrant groups who rape the most are also the ones we pay the most to live in our countries. It is literally state financed rape. If the state did not pay Muslims such large amounts of money to stay here, many of them would leave again and the rape victims would not have been raped. It sounds like a joke, doesn't it? It sounds like a fucking joke, man. It sounds like a racist meme. I guess it's not. But yes, guys. Yes. We're laughing. We're laughing. Oh, so Tony Blair's think tank has warned Andy Burnham against a capital gains tax increase, saying we cannot tax our way to prosperity. Burnham is understood to be considering bringing capital gains tax in line with income tax, despite warnings this could lead to tax receipts falling. I don't agree with this. And just to be clear, I'm not even in a position. I don't have enough money. All my shit's in fucking ISAs, so it's not like I have to worry about capital gains tax. But I just think that there's a reason we have it lower than income tax. Is this your top guy? Not top guy. I just think my belief in Burnham is solely a product of him being the only viable candidate that can actually stand up to Farage. That's it. And the only possible chance of Labour winning the next election is under Burnham. And, you know, Keir Starmer was done. And anyone that's saying otherwise was just fucking coping, dude. It was fucking over. But yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not against voting Labour at the next election. Oh, I am still a Labour guy. I just, you know, I just hope that they don't do anything too stupid. Yeah, the YouTube policy looks, well, I mean, to be honest with you, you know, most of my, or pretty much all of my revenue now is from Kick, so even if YouTube did change it, it's more so just a sign of how raped YouTube is these days. Chud will vote Labour and then complain about the wealth tax implemented by Andy and his friend Polanski. I never said Starmer was one of the best prime ministers. I said he was, okay. My position was Starmer is overhated for what he's actually done, but that doesn't change the reality that Starmer is hated. Even if I think it's excessive, it doesn't matter, because that's the reality. So there needs to be a change in order for Labour to have any potential to move forward. Okay? No, I need to get back into watching the Kick Talk stuff, because I've just been obviously a bit haphazard recently. Hitler is overhated. Listen, I'd happily do. Well, no, we do. We've got the big sweepers on, don't we? We've got the big sweep might be on. Okay. Oh my god, dude. What is this now? Lucy Powell's brands, Elon Musk ex-Toxic, as he says, social media rules around elections must be tightened. Well, that's a bit worrying, isn't it? That's a bit fucking worrying. Fucking hell, dude. Anyway, guys, I do need to go. I got to do the old school run. So, guys, I will be off tomorrow because I do really need to get this set up in the other room. Okay. Nah, I'm good on that kick shit. Absolute worst content you do. Just drooling as some rich gambling kingpins yap for hours. Dude, why do you think I care about your opinion on all the different types of things that I do here? You can literally just not watch. Truth Nuke. I like watching it. I like talking about kick stuff. We expect a nice pedo room with posters and bisexual lighting. Well, just don't watch. Just don't fucking watch then. If you know, it's literally... I could talk about other stuff all the other time, and I do 2 hours talking about that, and people fucking moan, dude. But I might change it to Monday. I might change it to the day off Monday stream, possibly. We'll see. We'll see. Some people like it, though. Some people like it. Right, guys. Okay. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go now. Off tomorrow. On Wednesday, I'll be up on the new thing. So look out for that. Thanks for watching. Dude, we'll watch Dickers instead. No, you fucking won't. I've seen his viewership, bro. You ain't. I can assure you, you're not watching Dickers, okay? Right, guys. Thank you for watching. Much appreciated. Be good. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy tomorrow without me, okay? And I will be back on Wednesday in the new room. Good luck. Godspeed. Bye. 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 Bye.